In the early days of Cuba, the island was a place where magic flowed through the air, the trees, the mountains, and the ocean. There, under a blazing Caribbean sun, the indigenous Taíno people told stories of beings who watched over the land. These tales were more than words, they were truths woven into every river, mountain, and storm. For the Taíno, spirits lived everywhere, whispering in the rush of rivers and howling through the winds of hurricanes. And in these whispers, one could feel the presence of beings far older than the island's palm trees and the waves lapping its shores. The Taíno people believed that their world was alive, brimming with gods, spirits, and creatures beyond sight. One of the most powerful was Jurican, the spirit of the hurricane, who controlled the furious storms that tore across the Caribbean. When the winds began to rise, the Taíno knew that Jurican was angry, his spirit twisting into towering winds and dark clouds, reminding everyone of nature's force. But Jurican wasn't simply destruction. He was a part of life, his presence an eternal reminder that the island belonged as much to the spirits as it did to the people. In every story passed from one generation to the next, there was the Opia, the spirits of children who had passed too soon. Gentle and kind, they walked the nights, their footsteps light as whispers, looking for loved ones and watching over families left behind. The Taíno believed these spirits lived between worlds, protecting the island and its people from the darkness that threatened to creep in. The sight of fireflies glowing at night was thought to be the Opia watching, tiny lights carrying the love and spirit of those lost but never forgotten. As centuries passed, new faces appeared on Cuba's shores, bringing with them their own legends, gods, and spirits. These were people taken from Africa, brought to the island against their will, but carrying their spiritual world deep within their hearts. With every footfall on Cuban soil, they left pieces of their faith, and soon, the spirits of Africa began to walk alongside those of the Taíno. The Yoruba and Congolese peoples brought with them powerful deities, guardians, and forces of nature, each carrying stories of strength, resilience, and survival. Ogun, the god of iron and war, was one of these spirits. He was fierce and unyielding, representing the indomitable spirit of those who found themselves in a strange land. For them, Ogun was not just a god, he was a protector in their struggles and a reminder of the courage they would need to survive. Many believed that when they called upon Ogun, he came to them, his strength filling their hearts and guiding their hands. He became part of Cuba, merging with the land, the iron tools of its fields, and the resolve of those who labored there. Then there was Alegua, the mischievous trickster and gatekeeper, who danced between worlds. With a spirit as lively as the bustling streets of Havana, Alegua was both a guardian and a trickster. He would play games, causing trouble but also protecting those who respected him. To honor Alegua meant to leave a piece of candy or a shiny coin, for he loved the small things that sparkled and delighted. His presence brought laughter and chaos, but also safety in a world that felt unfamiliar and dangerous. As Cuban soil welcomed these spirits, their influence began to grow. The Spanish, who had arrived centuries earlier, brought their own set of beliefs. The Catholic faith shaped the island, weaving the stories of saints and angels with those of Taíno gods and African spirits. In the early days of colonization, churches rose from the ground, their bell towers reaching toward the heavens. Each one held symbols of Christianity, but within its walls, there was a hidden understanding, a whispered belief in the beings that had watched over Cuba long before the Spanish arrived. This blending of beliefs formed something entirely new. In the shadows of churches, in the flicker of candlelight, the Santos of Catholicism merged with African orishas and Taíno spirits. The Virgin Mary became Ogun, the goddess of love and rivers, whose golden beauty and flowing waters symbolized purity and healing. Just as people knelt before the statue of Mary, they also felt the presence of Ogun, her laughter mingling with the rush of rivers, her warmth felt in the sunlight streaming through the trees. She was both mother and healer, a divine protector of those who called out to her. In the heart of Cuba, the lines between the worlds of the living and the spirit blurred, creating a unique tapestry of faith and myth. One could feel it in the heartbeat of Havana's rhythms, in the rolling of waves against the Malecon, and in the twilight hours when people told stories around flickering lamps. These myths were more than tales, they were lifelines, reminders that people were never alone. Every spirit, from the gentle Opia to the fierce Ogun, watched over them, guarding their land, their families, and their hearts. Even the land itself held secrets. The mountains of the Sierra Maestra were said to be haunted by ancient spirits, guardians of the untouched forest and the jagged cliffs. Farmers and villagers who lived near these mountains told stories of a creature known as the Güije, a small, goblin-like figure with dark skin and wild, flashing eyes. Mischievous and mysterious, the Güije lived in rivers and ponds, lurking in shadowed waters. It was both feared and respected, a creature of laughter and trickery, but also a reminder of the dangers that lay hidden in the wild beauty of Cuba's landscape. The Taino knew of the Güije, and later, African tales brought it new meanings, creating a creature that belonged to every Cuban heart. In the fields, whispers of the baka could send chills through a person's spine. Known as a guardian of wealth and property, the baka was a spirit that could bring prosperity, but only for a price. Those who summoned it would leave offerings at night, hoping the creature would keep watch over their crops, animals, or homes. Yet people knew that the baka was not to be trusted. It was powerful and unpredictable, a creature who might demand more than anyone was prepared to give. To call upon the baka meant stepping into a world of risk, where fortune and ruin lay only a heartbeat apart. These spirits, born of hope, struggle, and resilience, were woven into the Cuban heart. Through centuries of hardship, from the Taino's loss of their land, to the forced arrival of Africans, to the relentless demands of colonial rule, these myths have remained, whispering strength into each new generation. The people who walked Cuban soil did not merely live with these creatures, they carried them in their souls, feeling their presence in times of need, in moments of joy, and in the quiet of the night. Cuban folklore is a living, breathing force, pulsing with the spirits who have watched over the land for countless generations. Each story is a heartbeat, a memory, a reminder that somewhere in the wind, the rivers, and the mountains, these creatures are still there, guarding, guiding, and keeping Cuba's ancient soul alive. There are whispers in Cuba that come alive when the sun dips below the horizon, when the streets fall silent and shadows lengthen along the old buildings, spreading a quiet sense of wonder and unease. In those still moments, the stories begin. They're tales of creatures that walk among the living, beings who watch, protect, haunt, or punish. From the misty mountains to the darkened rivers, Cuban folklore is alive with mythical creatures, each one a thread woven tightly into the fabric of Cuban culture, carrying centuries of fear, hope, and belief. One of the most haunting figures is the Güije. Small and shadowy, with dark skin and glowing eyes, the Güije is a trickster, lurking by rivers and streams, playing pranks on those who wander too close at night. Children hear warnings of the Güije in the lullabies sung to them, stories passed down to protect them from venturing into the forests alone. Though mischievous, the Güije is not pure evil, it represents the unpredictable side of nature, a reminder that the world is not always gentle. For generations, this little creature has symbolized the spirit of Cuba itself, charming yet mysterious, beautiful yet holding its own dangers. There is a thrill in the thought of the Güije, an invitation to dance along the edge of safety, where curiosity and caution blend. The baka, on the other hand, strikes a much darker note in the Cuban heart. Known as a creature who can bring wealth or ruin, the baka is both feared and revered. It is said to be a guardian spirit, summoned to protect one's property or bring prosperity, but at a steep price. Those who seek out the baka enter into a dangerous game, for this creature demands offerings and loyalty in exchange for its gifts. A small mistake, a moment of disrespect, and the baka's kindness turns to wrath. To call upon the baka means to dance with greed and caution, and for some, it becomes a curse, bringing ruin where there once was hope. Farmers, families, and workers carry stories of the baka with them, reminders that fortune and fate are delicate, and sometimes what we seek for ourselves comes with shadows attached. Among these creatures is a figure of light and hope, the Opia. Believed to be the spirits of children who passed too young, the Opia are gentle, drifting spirits who walk the night, seeking the warmth of the living. These spirits are tenderly remembered, filling the darkness with a soft presence that brings comfort rather than fear. Families leave small offerings or light candles, believing that the Opia will watch over them in return. For many, the opia are beloved guardians, reminders of loved ones gone too soon, but never truly lost. Their presence is like a whisper of love from the past, a soft glow of memory that brings both longing and peace. Then there is La Luz Mala, the evil light. It is not so much a creature as a warning, a drifting glow that appears in fields and mountains at night. Those who see La Luz Mala know to keep their distance, for following it often leads to disaster. Farmers, hunters, and wanderers tell tales of the light that calls to the curious, leading them away from their paths, tempting them to wander into danger. Some say it's the spirit of a restless soul, others believe it's an omen, a light that brings misfortune to those who stray too close. La Luz Mala is both a warning and a test, a reminder that sometimes the most tempting paths hold hidden dangers. Its eerie glow lights up Cuban nights, stirring up stories that make hearts race and feet freeze in caution. Among the sea myths is the sirena, the Cuban mermaid who sings from the waves and enchants those who hear her. The sirena is a creature of impossible beauty, a figure who calls sailors and fishermen to the depths of the sea, often never to return. She's a symbol of longing, representing the deep desire to reach for something beyond the ordinary. Yet, her call is also a warning against unwise desires and the dangers of losing oneself to temptation. The story of the sirena is whispered among fishermen and those who live by the coast, her presence felt in the rhythm of the waves, a haunting reminder that sometimes the sea takes back those who reach too far. The werewolf also has a place in Cuban folklore. Known locally as El Lobo, this creature embodies transformation, the blending of man and beast. Legends say that certain people, by a curse or by choice, transform under the moonlight, becoming creatures of untamed strength and primal instincts. For some, El Lobo is a symbol of danger, representing those who harbor dark secrets and unpredictable urges. For others, it symbolizes the struggle within, where human civility clashes with wild, untamed power. The werewolf legend speaks to the duality in all of us, a reminder that under the surface of our polished lives, there is a wildness we sometimes fear to acknowledge. In the bustling streets of Havana, there are tales of ghostly conquistadors, spirits of long-dead Spanish soldiers who wander the old city, bound by the sins of conquest. These spectral figures are reminders of Cuba's complex history, a haunting presence that speaks of battles fought, land taken, and lives changed forever. Their ghostly armor and hollow eyes reflect a time of loss and conflict, when Cuba's people suffered under foreign rule. Some say these spirits are condemned to walk the earth as a form of penance, while others see them as guardians of a past that must never be forgotten. In the twilight hours, these creatures come alive in stories shared between neighbors, friends, and family. They are more than tales, they are symbols of Cuba's heart, its struggle, its resilience. Each creature carries a piece of Cuban history, a reminder of the island's fight for identity and belonging. Whether through the protective presence of the opia, the seduction of the sirena, or the dangerous allure of the baca, these beings echo the dreams, fears, and values of generations past. They stand as reminders that in Cuba, every story has a soul, and every creature carries the weight of countless hearts. Cuban folklore is a living story, a narrative where mythical creatures reveal the soul of a people who have weathered storms both real and imagined. These beings are reflections of the struggles, triumphs, and mysteries of life, etched into the soul of the island, their tales passed from voice to voice, heart to heart. The heart of Cuba beats strongest in its stories, carried on the wind through the streets, in the warmth of homes, and in the melodies of old songs. Each story has a soul, a pulse, a piece of the people who have kept them alive across generations. Folklore in Cuba is more than tales whispered into the night. It's a voice that tells Cubans who they are, where they've come from, and what they've faced. Through these stories, Cuba's identity is woven together, one that honors struggle, resilience, joy, and survival. To lose these stories would be to lose a part of the Cuban soul itself. In the rural towns and busy cities, there's always someone ready to share the story of a creature, a legend, or a moment from Cuba's past that speaks to something greater. Grandmothers tell tales of the opia, spirits of children who roam the night as fireflies, lighting up the darkness with their gentle glow. Fathers recount encounters with the Güije, the playful yet mysterious creature who lurks near rivers, a trickster with eyes that flash in the dark. These stories have been whispered by candlelight, sung over campfires, and carried on waves of laughter and tears. Every tale binds Cubans to one another, teaching them the values of family, courage, and respect for the unseen world around them. There's a sense of unity in Cuban folklore that goes beyond age, beyond region, beyond time. From the fisherman on the coast to the farmer in the fields, each Cuban knows the tales, the myths, the spirits who walk among them. The stories carry hints of the past, of ancestors who fought for their land, who honored nature, who loved fiercely. Through these tales, Cubans recognize each other. They feel the presence of those who came before, whispering wisdom, warnings, and reminders of the hardships they endured. A story shared is like a flame passed hand to hand, keeping the past alive, bringing warmth and light to the present. In Cuba, music is woven so deeply into life that it's hard to separate it from breath itself. Each song carries a story, each rhythm has its roots in a tale of love, loss, or laughter. The beat of drums, the soft strum of a guitar, the soulful cry of a voice, they're all a part of Cuba's folklore, a way of telling stories when words alone can't hold the depth of emotion. Songs become legends themselves, carrying the stories of the Baka, a creature said to bring prosperity at a price, or the enchanting Sirena, the mermaid whose song could pull a sailor to his doom. These stories, turned to music, take on a life of their own, shaping the sounds that echo through Cuban streets, and fusing the air with mystery and memory. Oral storytelling is sacred, a ritual that binds families and communities together. Children gather close to their elders, eyes wide as they listen to stories that seem to defy time. They hear of the duende, the forest spirit who protects the mountains and valleys, or of La Luz Mala, the evil light that leads the unsuspecting into danger. The words flow like poetry, like magic, each one chosen to paint an image so vivid it feels as if the creature could be just beyond the door. These stories are alive in every Cuban heart, shaping who they are, creating a sense of belonging that goes beyond family or community. It is a belonging to the island itself, to the spirit of Cuba. In every corner of Cuba, folklore is a reminder of resilience, of a history filled with trials, triumphs, and unforgettable moments. Through the tales of mythical creatures, Cubans honor their ancestors, whose own stories of struggle and survival echo in the words they pass down. The conquistador ghosts, the spirits of colonial soldiers who wander Havana's cobbled streets, bring whispers of a time when Cuba's people fought to hold onto their land and their freedom. The stories of these spirits are woven with the history of resistance, of never giving up even in the face of hardship. Every story of these haunted figures carries with it a lesson in resilience, a silent reminder that the island's spirit has always been strong. Folklore does not only shape the individual, it molds entire communities. From Santiago to Havana, each town has its own twist on a story, its own creatures, its own traditions. Some towns celebrate with festivals honoring the mythical figures who have protected their land, with children dressed as the Güije or the Opia, dancing through the streets in a colorful parade that brings joy and remembrance. These celebrations aren't just fun, they're sacred. They're a way for each community to say, we remember. We honor. We are one. These festivals become living stories, moments where folklore leaps from the lips of the old to the eyes of the young, ensuring that the myths will never fade. Through song, dance, and story, Cubans hold onto their history. The tales told are like footprints in the sand, lasting just long enough for the next wave of children to follow in them. There's a beauty in the rhythm of it all, the way each generation holds onto these myths not because they're scared, but because they love what they represent. The mythical creatures of Cuba are more than stories, they are friends, protectors, warnings, and comforters. To hear these tales is to feel the heartbeat of Cuba, to understand the soul of its people. The way Cubans pass down these stories isn't just a tradition, it's a declaration of who they are. Each word spoken is a testament to the strength of memory, of culture, and of family. Each song sung is a promise to keep the past alive, to carry forward the dreams and struggles of those who came before. Folklore in Cuba is the fabric of identity, stitched together with laughter, tears, and love. It is the history of the island, wrapped in magic and given life through the voice of every Cuban who dares to remember. Long ago, before the first Spanish ships touched Cuban shores, there were voices in the land, whispers carried by the winds, spirits in the rivers, and gods in the mountains. The Taíno people, the first inhabitants of the Caribbean, looked upon their world with wonder and reverence. For them, the land was alive, filled with beings both seen and unseen who watched over them, loved them, and at times, frightened them. In their hearts and stories, the Taíno brought these spirits to life, and with every whispered tale, these beings grew stronger, becoming part of Cuba itself, woven forever into the island's spirit. One of the most powerful figures in Taíno belief was Yaya, the Great Spirit, the creator of all things. Yaya was everywhere, in the sunlight dancing on the waves, in the lush green mountains, and in the endless sky. The Taíno believed that Yaya's breath gave life to everything, and that through Yaya, they were connected to all of nature. Yaya was a silent presence, a force that held them, protected them, and reminded them of their place in the world. In every story, every prayer, the Taíno people called upon Yaya's spirit, feeling his strength in their everyday lives. Yet, while Yaya was the source of all creation, other spirits, both fierce and gentle, roamed the island, guiding and guarding it. One of these was Jurican, the spirit of the hurricane. When the winds began to roar, and the sky turned dark with clouds, the Taíno knew it was Jurican's spirit stirring. They would watch the clouds gather, feel the tremble of the earth, and know that they were in the presence of something far greater than themselves. Jurican was feared, a wild spirit of storms who reminded the Taíno of the power of nature. His name was spoken with both respect and caution, for he was as much a part of the island as the earth itself. But the Taíno also had gentler spirits, guardians who watched over the people with kindness. Among them were the Opia, spirits of children who had passed from this world too soon. It was said that on quiet nights, the Opia walked softly through the forests, their laughter mingling with the sounds of crickets and rustling leaves. For the Taíno, the Opia were protectors, spirits of purity and innocence who watched over families and ensured the safety of loved ones. Seeing the flicker of fireflies at dusk, the Taíno believed they were glimpsing the Opia, lighting the way, carrying the love of those who had left too soon. These spirits were gentle, a reminder that even in loss, there is beauty, that those we love never truly leave us. The world of the Taíno was filled with beings who brought life to the land and kept balance. There was Boinail, the god of rain, who brought forth water to nourish the crops and fill the rivers. The Taíno saw Boinail in every droplet, felt him in every soft rain that blessed their fields. They knew that without Boinail's tears, there would be no life, no growth, no future. His presence was a gift, and with each rainfall, the Taíno gave thanks, honoring Boinail's kindness and the life-giving power he held. His spirit was a reminder of the harmony between earth and sky, a gentle force that sustained all who called the island home. But with Boinail came Morovu, the spirit of drought, a reminder that life was a delicate balance. When the rain stopped, and the rivers ran low, the Taíno would remember Morovu, understanding that he, too, was a part of their world. They respected Morovu's power, knowing that with him came hardship but also lessons in resilience. Morovu taught them to cherish the gifts of nature, to never take Boinail's rain for granted. In the dry seasons, they would honor Morovu, hoping for his mercy, praying for the rains to return. In the mountains, they believed there lived Maboya, a spirit both feared and respected. Maboya was a guardian of the wild places, a figure who protected the untouched lands from harm. The Taíno spoke of him in hushed tones, warning travelers to tread carefully through the forests and hills. Maboya was fierce, a defender of the island's heart, and those who disrespected the land would face his wrath. To the Taíno, Maboya was more than a protector, he was the voice of the earth itself, a reminder to honor the land, to care for the island that gave them life. In every rustle of the leaves, and every shadow that fell across the mountains, the Taíno felt Maboya watching, guiding, ensuring that their respect for the island would endure. The Taíno also spoke of Coatriski, the goddess of the sea, whose waves caressed the shores and provided sustenance. Fishermen would honor Coatriski before setting out, hoping for her favor, her blessings upon their catch. She was a gentle goddess, yet with a temper that could turn the seas wild. When the waves grew high and the ocean churned with fury, the Taino knew Coatrisque was warning them, protecting her waters, reminding them of the respect owed to her vast, mysterious depths. Coatrisque was the keeper of the sea's secrets, and in her embrace, the Taino felt the power and grace of the ocean itself. Through these spirits, the Taino felt a profound connection to the land, the sky, the water, to all that surrounded them. Their world was alive, a sacred space where each being had a role, where every creature and spirit worked in harmony to keep the balance of life. They did not see themselves as separate from nature but as part of it, bound to the earth and sky by the spirits who watched over them. This understanding, this closeness, was at the heart of Taino belief, a heartbeat that connected them to the island and to each other. In every shadow, every breeze, and every star that dotted the night sky, the Taino found a presence, a spirit who guided them, who watched, protected, and sometimes challenged them. These beings were not just myths, they were the guardians, the teachers, the reminders of a world where every life had value, every drop of rain a blessing, every gust of wind a message. Through the eyes of the Taino, Cuba was not just land and water, it was alive, a place where the divine and the natural walked hand in hand, forever entwined in the soul of the island. The heartache of the African people, torn from their homes and bound for a distant land, is beyond what words can hold. Yet, even in chains, they carried something that could never be taken from them, their spirits, their gods, their stories. These were not just tales, they were pieces of their soul, fragments of their history and faith, whispered in quiet moments and honored in silent prayers. On the soil of Cuba, far from home, the enslaved Africans wove these stories into their new lives, and in their resilience, they brought to life a vibrant new spirit, one that blended with the land, forever shaping Cuban folklore. Among those spirits, Elegua was often the first to be called. He was the trickster, the child and the wise elder, the one who opened doors and watched over crossroads. Elegua held both innocence and wisdom, laughter and caution, and his presence was a reminder of the unexpected turns life could take. When enslaved Africans whispered his name, they felt a glimmer of hope, knowing that Elegua's guidance was with them, even in the darkest moments. They saw him in the paths they walked, and the choices they made, feeling his presence in each crossroad, each step they dared to take toward survival. Then there was Yamaya, the mother of all, the goddess of the ocean. To those forced onto ships and ripped from their homelands, the ocean was both torment and salvation. But in Yamaya, they found a protector, a mother who soothed their pain, held them close, and brought peace to their aching hearts. In Cuba, they would stand by the shores, feeling the waves touch their feet and sensing Yamaya's love in every gentle crest, every soft crash. She was the one who washed away sorrow, who wrapped her children in the embrace of her vast, boundless waters. For those who felt lost, Yamaya was home, an unbreakable bond to the motherland they could no longer see. Chango, fierce and powerful, was the Orisha of thunder and fire. He was strength incarnate, a warrior whose spirit would not be broken. In Cuba, when thunder rumbled and lightning cracked across the sky, the people felt Chango's power, a reminder of their own unyielding spirit. They would sing and drum in his honor, calling upon his courage, his strength, to face the brutal days. Chango was their fire, the force that burned within, a flame that could not be extinguished no matter how harsh the storm. His presence gave them the courage to fight, to stand tall, to endure, knowing that the power of their ancestors flowed through their veins. The spirits did not walk alone. Ashen, the goddess of rivers, brought beauty, love, and joy to the people, even in a world filled with hardship. She was elegance, the sparkle of sunlight on water, the soft laugh of a child. When they danced in her honor, they felt a glimmer of joy, a lightness that lifted the weight of their suffering, if only for a moment. Ashen reminded them that love could survive even in darkness, that beauty could bloom even from pain. Her river flowed within them, gentle yet unstoppable, a stream of resilience that carried them forward. And there were the spirits of the Congo tradition, spirits who held power over nature, life, and death. Kimbanda was the spirit of healing, the one who could mend both body and soul. In moments of suffering, the people called upon Kimbanda, feeling his touch in the plants and the remedies made from the earth. They saw him in the healer's hands, and the prayers whispered over wounds, feeling his presence in the very breath that kept them alive. Kimbanda reminded them of their power to heal, to find strength even when broken, to reclaim their dignity and life from a world that tried to strip it away. And then there was Sarabanda, the fierce protector, the spirit who gave strength to those who worked the land, who toiled under the scorching sun. Sarabanda was the iron, the metal, the unbreakable force within them. In Cuba, as they labored, they felt his power, knowing that he was there beside them, his spirit in every tool, in every moment of strength they found. Sarabanda was the warrior's heart, a reminder that they were more than slaves, they were survivors, descendants of warriors and kings, connected to a lineage that stretched far beyond the island's shores. Together, these spirits, these orishas, became woven into Cuban life, not as memories of another world, but as living beings who walked alongside the people, guiding, protecting, and giving strength. Their presence brought comfort and a sense of home to those who had been uprooted. Through songs, dances, and prayers, the enslaved Africans called forth their spirits, refusing to let their gods fade, ensuring that each beat of the drum was a heartbeat, each chant a lifeline back to their origins. In time, these spirits became part of Cuba itself, blending with the island's landscapes, with the mountains, rivers, and seas. Eligua watched over the crossroads of Cuban towns, Yumaya flowed in the waves that touched Cuban shores, Changos fire blazed in the thunderstorms that rolled across the land. The orishas and spirits became Cuban, not because they changed, but because the people had brought them there, planting them like seeds in the soil. And like seeds, they grew, intertwining with Cuban folklore, enriching it, giving it roots that ran deep into the earth. In the darkness of the sugarcane fields, and the hidden corners of the island, the people would gather, calling on their gods, singing their songs, keeping their spirits alive. Their voices rose to the heavens, filled with sorrow, strength, and a fierce, unyielding faith. Even when the world tried to silence them, their spirits spoke through the beat of the drums, and the rhythm of their dances, and the pulse of their prayers. Each beat was a reminder that they were not alone, that their gods walked with them, that their ancestors watched over them, holding them close even in the hardest times. Through the strength of their beliefs, the enslaved Africans transformed their suffering into something that could not be broken. Their gods, their spirits, gave them a sense of power, a feeling of home, even in a world that tried to strip everything away. And as they honored these spirits, they found a new strength, a new resilience, a will to survive and to fight. The gods became their protectors, their allies, their family, and in turn, they became family to Cuba itself, joining the island's spirit in an unbreakable bond. The ships came over the horizon, their sails billowing like the wings of massive, ghostly birds. With them, the Spanish brought crosses, holy words, and saints dressed in gold. To the people of Cuba, those who had lived here long before and those brought here in chains, the arrival was like the dawn of a storm, silent at first, but bringing with it a force that would change everything. The Spaniards carried stories of saints and angels, stories they believed would cleanse and protect. Yet the spirits of the island, the ancient ones, fierce and strong, were not easily swept aside. And as the beliefs clashed and mingled, something miraculous took shape. It was in the small, flickering corners of dark churches where Cuban folklore began to merge with Spanish Catholicism. Spanish saints, whose images were carved in wood and painted on church walls, began to seem like more than just figures from a distant land. To the enslaved Africans and the Indigenous Taíno, these saints seemed to speak in ways the priests could not. Through quiet prayers and whispered pleas, the saints came to life, adopting the power and presence of the spirits the people already knew and loved. It wasn't surrender, it was a blending, a weaving together of old gods and new figures to create something both sacred and deeply Cuban. One of these was La Virgen de la Caridad del Cabra, Our Lady of Charity. For the Spaniards, she was simply a saint, a figure of the Catholic Church. But to the enslaved Africans, she was Yumaya, the goddess of the sea and mother to all. To the Taíno, she was a familiar protector, a guardian watching over them from the waters. When she appeared to the people of El Cabra, 3 humble men saw her, radiant and kind, floating above the waves with her child in her arms. In that moment, she wasn't just the Virgin Mary, she was the spirit of Cuba itself, a mother for the lost, a protector for the suffering. And from that day on, the people held her close, praying to her as both virgin and goddess, Yemaya and Mary, knowing that in her hands they would find strength. Then there was San Lazaro, the Spanish saint known for his mercy to the poor and the sick. For those who had been stripped of their homes, torn from their lands, San Lazaro was not just a saint but a healer of all wounds, physical and spiritual. His likeness, clothed in rags, leaning on crutches, resonated deeply with the enslaved and impoverished. They saw in him the spirit of Babaluai, the Orisha of healing and suffering. To the enslaved Africans, Babaluai had always been the one who endured sickness to bring healing to others. So when they saw San Lazaro, they saw a familiar face, a kindred soul who shared their pain. And in their prayers, they began to merge the two, feeling Babaluai's ancient spirit as they whispered San Lazaro's name, calling for strength and relief from the burdens they bore. In the quiet evenings, another saint would come to life in the hearts of the people, Santa Barbara. With her crimson cloak and sword, she was revered by the Spaniards as a martyr, a powerful figure of justice. But to those who worshipped Shango, the Orisha of fire and thunder, Santa Barbara's likeness was more than a saint, it was a reflection of Shango himself. In her fiery spirit and her courage, they felt the power of Shango's lightning, his passion, his justice. And so they began to honor her as both saint and Orisha, seeing in her the fierce protector who would stand with them in times of struggle. In Santa Barbara, they found a force as relentless as the storms, as unstoppable as the thunder, a guardian who carried both the love of a saint and the strength of a god. As the Spanish priests recited prayers to the saints, the people of Cuba felt a mix of both familiarity and mystery. They heard echoes of their own stories in the tales of the Catholic saints, saw glimpses of their own gods in the icons on the church walls. The saints weren't just holy figures from a distant land, they were reflections of spirits who had been with them since birth, beings who knew their hardships, their hopes, their grief. And so, they prayed in both languages, in Spanish and in the whispered prayers of Africa and the Taíno. They crossed themselves, yet left offerings at the foot of the statues, keeping the spirits close in ways that only they understood. In the church bells, the people heard echoes of the sacred drums, a rhythm that called to their spirits and moved them to dance. Each beat was a reminder of their ancestors, of the gods and orishas who had not been forgotten. And as they stood together in the candlelit churches, they knew they were not alone. The saints looked down on them with kind eyes, but behind those eyes, the people saw the strength of the old gods, the spirits who had followed them across oceans, who had held them through years of hardship, who whispered to them even now. Through years of hardship and oppression, this blending of faiths was a lifeline. It was a way for the people to carry their own gods and ancestors into a world that often seemed hostile and foreign. It was an act of quiet rebellion, a way of saying that their past, their spirits, would not be erased. In every prayer, they found a sense of unity, a merging of identities that transcended borders and bound them together as a people. And with each prayer, they honored the saints not as conquerors, but as allies, beings who understood their suffering, who had become part of Cuba itself, like old friends wrapped in new names. Over time, this blending became the heartbeat of Cuban culture. The saints and spirits walked hand in hand, protecting the people, offering them strength and hope. And in this unity, the people found resilience, a powerful bond that could never be broken, a connection to the ancestors who lived on in their hearts. With each candle lit before a saint, each whisper of an Orisha's name, the people honored their past, their roots, their identity, weaving together a faith that was both Spanish and African, both ancient and new. Through this union of faiths, they carried the spirit of their ancestors forward, keeping alive the beliefs, the gods, the spirits who had carried them through every hardship, who would continue to guide them through every trial. It was a faith born of struggle, but filled with beauty and strength, a testament to the resilience of the human heart and the power of belief to transcend all barriers. In the quiet before the storm, when the air hangs heavy and the birds fall silent, the people of the island feel a presence looming, ancient and wild, as if the land itself is holding its breath. To the Taíno, the first people of Cuba, this was not just weather, it was the hand of Hurricane, the spirit of the hurricane, a force so powerful that it could wipe away villages, reshape rivers, and leave nothing but broken trees and silence in its wake. Jurican was no simple storm. It was an enraged spirit, one that moved with purpose, with fury, and with a voice that thundered through the heavens. Long before meteorologists and science explained these storms, the Taino people watched the sky, sensing the shifts in wind and waves. They saw how the ocean's calm would suddenly turn wild, how the clouds would pile high like mountains, darkening the day. To them, this was not a random act of nature but the anger of a god, Jurican, a spirit that could not be appeased, only respected. When the winds picked up and the first drops of rain began to fall, mothers would gather the children close, whispering prayers to hold back the fury, but they knew the truth: when Jurican came, nothing could stop him. In their beliefs, the Taino explained that Jurican was born from Guabansix, a powerful deity who ruled over chaos, storms, and destruction. Guabansix held dominion over all violent winds and called them forth in waves of anger that twisted the skies and churned the seas. Jurican was her messenger, her rage embodied, and her warning to humankind. To the Taino, this spirit was as real as the trees or rivers. Jurican was the force of the wild, the spirit who could destroy all, and each storm was a reminder of the power they could not control. When Jurican swept through the island, it felt as if the entire world was shaking. Trees would bow to the ground, the rain would pour down so hard it stung like needles, and rivers would rise, swallowing the land. The Taino would huddle in their homes, hearts racing as the wind howled around them like 1,000 voices, voices filled with anger and sorrow. In those moments, they believed they were hearing Jurican's true voice, a voice filled with memories of wrongs, of past betrayals, of a fury too great for the human heart to hold. They saw each hurricane as a part of the spirit's grief and wrath, each gust of wind as an ancient cry echoing across the land. The Taino did not see Jurican as simply evil or cruel. For them, he was a necessary spirit, a force of balance, though one that left destruction in his path. They believed that Jurican came to remind the people of their place in the world, to keep them humble and mindful of the earth's power. If they grew too comfortable, too certain of their dominion over the land, Jurican would arrive, tearing down what had been built, returning everything to the earth, to show that all things must eventually return to the soil. The spirit was both a warning and a protector of nature's balance, fierce yet bound by purpose. And yet, there was something hauntingly beautiful about Jurican. When the storm had passed and the winds fell silent, the world felt cleansed, as if the spirit's rage had washed away everything, leaving a kind of purity in its place. After the destruction, the Taino would emerge, finding their land changed but somehow renewed. The storm's path left scars, but it also left space for new life to grow. In the bent trees and scattered leaves, they saw Jurican's message, that the world must keep moving, that life must continually be reborn, reshaped, even through pain and loss. The Taino told stories of how they would see Guabansix's form in the swirls of clouds, her hand spinning the wind, her voice screaming in the thunder. And when the eye of the storm, the one calm part, passed overhead, they would look up and feel a strange peace. They believed that, for just a moment, they were in the presence of Jurican himself, in the heart of his storm, and that he was watching them, deciding their fate. The calm eye was a moment of mercy, a chance for them to catch their breath, to feel the spirit's touch without fear, if only for a heartbeat. The elders would tell children of the spirits who walked within each storm, spirits who guided the wind and rain, who gathered the clouds like warriors preparing for battle. They'd speak of how Jurican, though fierce, was not a senseless destroyer but a force tied to the rhythms of the world. And so, when a hurricane took homes or swept away crops, the Taino did not only mourn, they rebuilt with reverence, seeing each new structure as an offering of resilience to Jurican, a sign that they respected his power and would rise again from his trials. In the aftermath, there were always signs that the Taino would interpret as Jurican's blessing. A field of yucca would spring up stronger than before, flowers would bloom in places left bare by the storm, and birds would return to fill the air with song. It was as if Jurican, in his terrible beauty, left a gift behind, a renewal, a fresh start. They believed that he came not just to bring destruction but to breathe life back into the land, to remind them that, even through loss, life would continue, reborn and stronger than before. Over time, as the Spanish settlers arrived and brought their own beliefs, the Taino continued to honor Jurican's spirit in secret. Even as new stories and saints were introduced, they did not forget the spirit of the storm, the power that lay in the wild winds and rain. Hurricane remained a part of them, a part of the island's soul. And each hurricane season, when the winds began to stir and the skies darkened, they would feel his presence, a reminder of the power that lay beyond human control, a force as old as the land itself. To this day, when hurricanes sweep across Cuba, the legacy of Hurricane lives on. People look to the skies with a sense of awe and respect, feeling the same pulse of fear and reverence that their ancestors did. For in each storm, there is a memory, an echo of the spirit that the Taíno once knew, a spirit that still moves with power, that still watches over the land with both fury and grace. And as the winds rise and the rains fall, the people hold their loved ones close, feeling the heartbeat of the storm, the pulse of an ancient spirit who has always been a part of the land, forever reminding them of both their fragility and their strength. In the quiet hours of dusk, when the light fades and the shadows grow long, there's a gentle, sorrowful presence that the Taíno people have long felt in the air. It's said that in those fragile moments between day and night, the opia, the spirits of children who left this world too soon, can be seen drifting through the trees, wandering as if they're looking for something precious that was left behind. These tender spirits are felt like whispers in the wind, soft and sad, as though the earth itself mourns their loss and carries their memory with infinite care. The Taíno believed that the opia were different from other spirits, set apart by their innocence and the heartbreaking truth of lives unfinished. These spirits weren't bound to the world by anger or vengeance. Instead, they lingered out of a quiet yearning, a need for comfort. To the Taíno, these souls were still young, still pure, and their presence was cherished, held with reverence and deep sorrow. The idea that such young souls were close, watching over their families, brought both a sense of closeness and a fragile ache, like holding a memory so close it feels alive again. It's said that if you walk through the forests of Cuba in the early evening, you might catch a glimpse of an opia, a flicker of movement just at the corner of your eye, a soft, pale light weaving through the trees. The Taíno told stories of how the opia loved the forest, where the trees stood ancient and tall, protecting them like guardians. In these woods, the opia could find peace, dancing in the beams of moonlight, their laughter as faint as the rustling leaves. Those who saw the opia were reminded of all the little things, smiles, voices, dreams, that had been taken too soon, and their hearts ached with both grief and love. To the Taíno, these spirits of lost children were precious and needed gentle protection. Families would leave small offerings of food or flowers in quiet, hidden places, hoping to bring a measure of comfort to the little souls who walked between worlds. They left toys, small shells, or bright feathers as gifts, symbols of love to reassure these young spirits that they were remembered, that they were still part of the family, still held close in memory. The belief was that if the opia felt loved, they would not be lonely, and their spirits could rest easier, soothed by the care of those who still held them in their hearts. The people also believed that the opia had a special power. It was said they could protect those they loved from danger, acting as tiny, invisible guardians. When a child was out in the forest, mothers would call upon the opia, praying that these kind spirits would watch over their own child, guiding them safely back home. This belief was more than a superstition. It was a bond, a sacred trust, between the living and those who had crossed to the other side. And whenever a child returned home safe and sound, the family would offer quiet thanks, knowing that the opia had been near, keeping watch, like family who had never truly left. There were times, however, when the opia felt too close, and the air grew thick with their presence. Sometimes, it was said, the spirits of children who left too young didn't fully understand their fate. They lingered close to their homes, to their families, yearning for the warmth of familiar arms, the love they'd known. Parents who had lost a child would sometimes feel a soft tug on their clothes, or hear a faint giggle in the night, like an echo of a memory that was too real to ignore. The opia, it was believed, sometimes found themselves caught between longing and acceptance, not out of anger but out of a love that felt unfinished. In these cases, the Taíno held special rituals to gently guide the opia back to peace, to help them understand that they were free, that they could find rest. Families would gather under the moonlight, lighting small fires to brighten the night, singing soft songs to the spirits as if soothing a child to sleep. They would tell stories of love and comfort, offering words that only the heart could understand, hoping to reassure the young spirits that they were safe, that they would always be loved, even from a distance. In the quiet of these rituals, a special bond formed between the living and the departed, a connection that seemed to bridge the worlds. Families would speak softly to the night, their voices filled with tenderness, and in return, it was said, the Opia would listen, letting go of their longing, allowing themselves to drift into the comfort of the forest, to rest among the trees and the stars. The Taino believed that through these gestures, these whispered comforts, they could bring peace to the Opia, giving them a place in their hearts, while guiding them to the gentle solace of the spirit world. And yet, the Taino people also spoke of nights when the forest felt alive with the joy of the Opia, when the young spirits danced through the trees and laughed under the stars. These were nights when the veil between worlds seemed thin, and the island itself seemed to glow with their presence. In these moments, it felt as if the children had returned, if only for a little while, to be with the people they loved, bringing laughter and light to the darkness. Families would tell stories around fires, sharing memories, keeping the spirits close through the simple act of remembering. And as the flames flickered, it felt as though the Opia were sitting beside them, a silent but cherished presence. For the Taino, the Opia were more than just spirits, they were a reminder of the delicate, beautiful fragility of life, of the love that binds families even beyond the boundaries of life and death. Each time the people spoke of the Opia, each time they left a small offering in the forest or whispered a prayer into the wind, they honored that love, letting the young spirits know that they would never be forgotten. And in those quiet moments, when the air felt heavy with memory and love, it was as though the Opia, too, remembered, lingering in a place where love could reach across any distance, where they could forever remain close to the hearts that held them dear. In the quietest hours of the night, when the world is asleep and only the faint rustle of leaves breaks the silence, there is a sense of something watching, guarding. It is in these hours, cloaked in shadows, that the Baka, the mysterious guardian of wealth, stands unseen but ever present, bound by an ancient promise and an unbreakable pact. To those who call upon it, the Baka brings a delicate, precarious fortune, a life balanced between prosperity and dread. The Baka, as the people of the Caribbean know, is not merely a protector but a creature bound by loyalty to a single purpose, to defend wealth at any cost. Many believe that the Baka is summoned through a ritual, an agreement sealed with words that carry the weight of centuries. The tales say that those who summon a Baka do so not lightly. It is a decision born from desperation or longing, a wish for security so strong that it draws this creature out of the shadows. But there is a price. For the Baka is no ordinary guardian. It demands loyalty, vigilance, and sometimes even more than its summoner can bear to give. In its form, the Baka is unlike anything seen in daylight. People describe it differently: a shadow, a flicker in the corner of an eye, a small creature with piercing eyes that see beyond any human. Some say it takes on the appearance of animals, perhaps a dog or a goat, with an intelligence far beyond anything natural. To the unknowing eye, it might seem harmless, perhaps even curious. But to those who have encountered it, the Baka is a force that moves silently, prowling the property it has sworn to protect, watching over wealth with a gaze that misses nothing. The presence of a Baka brings with it a strange energy, one that its summoner can feel but never quite see. Those who have called upon the Baka often describe a sense of being watched, as if the creature's eyes are always upon them, measuring, calculating. For the Baka knows its duty and will go to any length to ensure that wealth remains untouched. Its guardianship, however, is complex, for its loyalty is not to the person who summoned it, but to the wealth itself. And if the summoner should ever falter in their loyalty to the pact, or even think of abandoning their fortune, the Baka would know, and its vengeance is as swift as it is relentless. It is said that those who bring a Baka into their lives are forever changed. Yes, the wealth may come, businesses prosper, crops yield in abundance, and prosperity grows. Yet along with this comes a quiet tension, a fear that lingers in each corner of the house. Families of Baka summoners speak in hushed voices, casting wary glances, for they know that the Baka does not tolerate disrespect. Should anyone attempt to take what the Baka guards, even unknowingly, the creature responds without mercy. Stories tell of animals found dead without a cause, of crops mysteriously wilting overnight. To the Baka, wealth is sacred, and any threat to it, no matter how small, is treated as an unforgivable offense. Despite these dangers, some continue to summon the Baka, driven by the hope of a better life. A family struggling to feed their children, a farmer desperate to keep his land, a shopkeeper fearing for his future, these are the people who call upon the Baka, willing to risk everything for a chance at stability. And when the wealth comes, there is a moment of relief, a fleeting joy that feels like a miracle. But soon, they understand the weight of the bargain they've made. For every coin protected, every piece of property watched over, there is a growing price, a tension that binds them tighter to the creature, that makes them a part of its endless watch. Some say that those who live with the Baka lose themselves over time, their minds haunted by a creature they can't see but feel always. Friends notice the change, the way these individuals grow secretive, the way their eyes dark to shadows. It is as if the Baka leaves its mark on them, a subtle possession that makes them forever cautious, suspicious of anyone who might threaten their fortune. The wealth may grow, but so does the fear, creating a life of guarded glances, of silence and shadows. Parents warn their children never to go near certain fields, never to speak of wealth in a certain tone, as if saying too much might stir the Baka from its vigil. For children, the Baka becomes a shadowed figure, a story told to keep them cautious, respectful of the land and what lies hidden within it. The elders say that if you listen carefully at night, when the wind is quiet, you can hear the Baka's footsteps, a faint rustling sound that carries a chill. To cross paths with the Baka, even unknowingly, is to invite misfortune. Many a child has been warned, respect what isn't yours, or the Baka will know. And for those who try to break free of the Baka's bond, the tales offer no comfort. There are whispers of people who tried to abandon the wealth they had gained, to escape the Baka's watchful eye, hoping that distance might set them free. But each story ends the same, no one escapes the Baka. It follows them, a shadow that cannot be shaken, a reminder of the pact that holds them, a creature bound not to a place but to the promise itself. And if they falter, if they grow careless or betray the wealth it guards, the Baka turns from protector to avenger, a creature whose wrath knows no bounds. For as long as there is need, there will be those willing to risk everything for a Baka's protection. And as long as the Baka is summoned, the stories will continue, of wealth found, of peace lost, of fortunes made and then guarded with a fear as great as the fortune itself. To some, the Baka is a gift, a miracle that brings abundance. But to others, it is a curse, a creature that watches every move, holding the wealth tightly even as it binds its summoner to a life lived in shadows. In the quiet stillness by the river, when the moonlight shimmers softly on the surface, there's a chill in the air that feels almost playful, like a faint giggle echoing through the trees. The villagers know to be careful in these moments, for lurking in those waters is the Güije, a creature both mischievous and strange, whose name is spoken with both laughter and a touch of fear. The Güije is no ordinary being, it's said to be small, with skin as dark as night and eyes that shine with an unnatural glow, a creature with the heart of a trickster and the soul of the river itself. Long ago, the Taíno people whispered of the Güije, a being they believed guarded the waters, ready to pull the careless and the curious into its hidden depths. To them, the Güije was a creature born from the river, with the spirit of the wild and a mind as sharp as a fox. Tales spread of its peculiar laughter ringing through the trees, a sound that could start as a giggle and grow into a haunting echo, leaving those who heard it both curious and chilled. Some say that the Güije would hide among the reeds and rocks, watching, waiting for the perfect moment to startle those who wandered too close. With a splash or a sudden, eerie laugh, it would appear, only to vanish just as quickly, leaving its audience trembling, half wondering if what they'd seen was real. But the Güije isn't just a trickster, it's also a guardian, a creature whose presence protects the rivers and the forests from disrespect. People tell stories of children who dared to throw rocks into the water or adults who tried to capture fish with no respect for the land. These were the ones the Güije would haunt, following them with shadows and strange sounds, its small, dark form flickering at the edge of their vision, its eyes bright with something almost playful yet unsettling. For those who didn't heed its warnings, the Güije's tricks became harsher, a reminder to tread lightly, to respect the rivers and all they hold. The Afro-Cuban stories add another layer to the Güije's character, portraying it as a being with a fierce, protective spirit, a mischievous goblin, but also something close to family. To many, it is a creature tied to ancestors, watching over the waters and those who depend on them. Some believe the Güije was born from the spirit of ancestors who passed down their love and wisdom into the rivers, so the creature's playful tricks are seen as reminders of lessons long ago learned. Those who honor the rivers feel safe, knowing the Güije is there, watching over them, guiding them in ways only the river's guardian could. Children especially are enchanted by stories of the Güije, with its small, spry frame, quick movements, and odd little laugh. Parents tell tales to keep their young ones safe, warning them not to wander too close to the water's edge, for the Güije might be waiting just beneath the surface, ready to play its games. The creature is often said to have webbed hands and feet, allowing it to slip into the water with ease, disappearing as if it were part of the river itself. Some say its hair is tangled and wild, dripping with riverweed and moss, while others speak of a glimmer in its eyes, a spark of mischief that never fades. On moonlit nights, villagers say the Güije can sometimes be seen sitting on a rock by the river, its legs swinging playfully, humming a tune that seems to blend with the sounds of the forest. Those who have dared to approach it too closely tell of how it would lock eyes with them, a gaze that could freeze you in place, a mix of laughter and something almost haunting. They say that if you stare into the eyes of a Güije for too long, you'll feel as if you're drowning, as if you're being pulled into the depths of the river, where the creature's world lies. And just when fear starts to creep in, the Güije will laugh, a sharp, high sound that breaks the spell, and it will vanish, leaving you breathless and bewildered on the shore. But despite the Güije's tricks, there's a warmth in how it's remembered, a strange fondness, as if the people know that even the Güije's mischief is a part of their world, something to be respected and even loved. People bring small offerings to the riverside, tiny pieces of food, shells, or flowers, hoping to win the creature's favor, to keep it friendly and content. These offerings are given with the understanding that the Güije, though mischievous, holds the heart of the river, and by honoring it, they honor the river and the spirits within it. There are tales of the Güije helping those it favored, leading the lost back to the village, or protecting children who played by the river's edge. One story speaks of a young girl who fell into the water, only to feel herself lifted gently back to shore. She remembered a soft, dark face with glowing eyes watching over her as she caught her breath on the bank. When she looked again, the creature was gone, but she knew it had been the Güije, offering its kindness in a moment of need. From that day on, her family brought offerings to the river, their gratitude for the Güije woven into each small gift. Yet, as much as the Güije can be a friend, its darker side is always present. When offended, it becomes a creature of warning and consequence, its laughter replaced by a silence that feels heavy, almost menacing. Fishermen who took too much or didn't show respect for the river's gifts would find their boats overturned or their nets mysteriously empty. Those who ignored the signs felt its presence most sharply, a splash just behind them, a chill in the air, a rustling that sounded like footsteps, reminding them that the Güije is not to be ignored or dismissed. For generations, the stories of the Güije have been whispered along the riverbanks, keeping the creature's spirit alive, a reminder of the fine line between respect and folly, between friendship and mischief. It's a creature that demands to be acknowledged, a symbol of the river's life and mystery. And even today, as the children listen wide-eyed to tales of its antics, they know that the Güije is more than just a story. It's a part of the land, of the river, and of the people's memory, a living legend that protects as much as it teases, bound forever to the waters of Cuba. In the thick, shadowy heart of the Cuban forests, where the sunlight filters down in narrow beams and the air is rich with the smell of earth, a presence lingers unseen. It's the duende, the spirit of the wild, watching over the trees, the creatures, and the life that pulses in the hidden parts of the forest. This tiny, elusive figure, part guardian, part trickster, moves with an almost ghostly quiet, as if it were part of the forest itself. Those who know its legend tread carefully, for the duende has eyes in every branch, ears in every rustling leaf, and a heart that beats with the rhythm of the land. People say the duende is small, no taller than a child, with a face that blends into the shadows and eyes that glimmer like dew on a spider's web at dawn. It's a creature that belongs to no one yet protects everyone, a spirit that walks unseen paths and lives in hidden places, at peace with nature but wary of those who might harm it. To the duende, the forest is home, sanctuary, and family. And like any good guardian, it will do what it must to keep it safe, even if that means playing tricks on those who wander too close or treat the land with careless hands. The tales speak of the duende's tricks with a mixture of amusement and respect, for it's said that while its pranks might seem playful, they carry a warning. A man who chopped wood without respect would find his axe mysteriously dulled, unable to cut even the thinnest branch. Those who hunted more than they needed would hear strange whispers in the night, soft but unmistakable, a voice in a language only the forest knows. The duende's mischief, subtle yet powerful, leaves people wondering if they've angered the spirit or perhaps earned its respect. But one thing is clear, when you feel the duende's presence, you understand that the forest has eyes, that it remembers, and that it will not let you walk through it without noticing your footsteps. The duende's role isn't just to frighten or scold, though. For those who walk the forest paths with gentle hearts, who treat the trees and animals with care, the duende becomes something of a friend, a quiet guide. Elders tell of the times they felt the duende's protection, when sudden storms drove hunters back to safety or a strange feeling in their chest stopped them just before they stumbled into danger. The duende's spirit is a shield as much as it is a prankster's whisper, a being who protects those who respect the world it loves. Parents warn their children never to shout or stomp through the woods, for fear of disturbing the duende's peace. It's said that if a child gets lost, the duende might appear, not in the form of a person but as a feeling, a calm that guides them back home. Some tell stories of children who wandered off only to reappear with strange tales of a warm presence, like a hand in theirs, leading them back to safety. When asked to describe it, the children shake their heads and smile, saying only that they felt safe, like something kind was watching over them. In the village, people speak in reverent tones about the duende's love for balance, the way it punishes greed and rewards kindness. Farmers say that when they treat the land with respect, their crops grow more bountifully, their soil richer. But those who forget the duende's rules, taking too much from the earth without giving back, often find themselves plagued by mysterious misfortunes, crops that wither overnight, animals that vanish without a trace. It's the duende's reminder that the forest and land have limits, that they are to be nurtured, not exploited. In this way, the duende becomes not just a protector of nature but a teacher, showing the people how to live in harmony with the earth. There are those who claim they've seen the duende, usually at dusk, when the forest is at its quietest. These glimpses are rare, fleeting, and they say that when you see the duende, time itself seems to stop. You might catch a shadow darting between trees, a flicker of movement at the edge of your vision, a small figure that seems both real and otherworldly. For those brief moments, the world falls silent, and you feel as if you've stepped into a realm beyond human understanding, a place where only spirits like the duende belong. Even when it can't be seen, the duende's presence is felt deeply. Hunters, farmers, and travelers all say there are moments in the forest when they feel something nearby, a shiver in the air, a rustling that seems too purposeful to be the wind. Some believe the duende leaves small signs, an odd arrangement of stones, the sudden appearance of a flower in the middle of a well-worn path. These are the duende's markers, little reminders that the forest is alive and that its spirit walks beside them, unseen yet close enough to touch. As much as the duende is a guardian, it is also a symbol, a reminder that the earth itself is sacred, that each tree, each blade of grass, each river flowing through the land is part of a delicate balance. The duende keeps this balance with its laughter and tricks, with its mysterious guidance and stern punishments. And though it is often spoken of as a spirit of mischief, those who understand the duende know that its heart is kind, that it loves the forest as much as any parent loves a child. The people of Cuba honor the duende with offerings, small gestures of gratitude left at the base of trees or near streams. These might be simple gifts, a handful of rice, a few flowers, a whispered promise to treat the land with care. These offerings are given not out of fear but respect, an acknowledgement of the duende's work, of its endless vigil over the wild places. And in return, they feel the duende's protection, a quiet assurance that the forest, with all its beauty and mystery, will continue to thrive as long as the duende walks its paths. To some, the duende might seem like a mere legend, a story to explain the strange happenings in the forest. But to those who've felt its presence, who've experienced the forest's kindness and wrath, the duende is as real as the trees it guards. It's a being woven into the land itself, a spirit as ancient as the forest and as alive as the air they breathe. And so, when they step into the woods, they do so with reverence, with quiet steps and gentle voices, knowing that somewhere in the shadows, the duende is watching, protecting the balance that keeps their world alive. The fires roared and the clash of metal resounded through the earth as Ogun, the mighty god of iron and war, forged his path into the hearts of his people. With each strike of his hammer, sparks flew like stars, showering the world in his fierce power. Ogun is not just a god of weapons and strength, he is the soul of unbreakable courage, the protector who stands unwavering against all who threaten his land and people. Born from the strength of the earth itself, his spirit is made of iron, forged in the heat of battle and tempered by the loyalty he holds for those he guards. In Yoruba belief, Ogun is a force no one dares to challenge without knowing the risks. Warriors carry his name into battle, believing that he watches over them, guiding their swords and shielding them from harm. To have Ogun's blessing is to feel an unyielding courage, to feel the strength of iron in one's veins. His presence inspires both awe and fear. He is a god of destruction, but his wrath is only turned upon those who break his sacred laws of justice and respect. Those who protect their people, honor the land, and show courage can feel his power flowing through them like a lifeline, an energy that turns even the weakest hand strong. Alongside Ogun come his warriors, beings so fierce and loyal they have earned their place beside him. These warriors are more than mortals, they are protectors who have pledged their lives to Ogun's cause, and in doing so, have gained a strength that is as legendary as it is feared. These are warriors who face the unknown without flinching, spirits who have proven their courage time and again. With Ogun's power behind them, they carry a fiery spirit within, and those who look into their eyes say they see embers of Ogun's flames, burning deep, unyielding. The myths speak of Ogun's companions, not only human warriors, but mythical creatures born of the same iron will. These creatures are embodiments of Ogun's essence, animals and spirits who stand guard in the night, whose ferocity is unmatched. Stories tell of massive dogs, with eyes that glint like sharpened steel, their growls echoing like the pounding of hammers on an anvil. These are not mere animals, they are spirits shaped by Ogun's hand, protectors who strike fear into any who dare to cross their path. Just as Ogun is a force of nature, so too are his guardians, each one as relentless as the god they serve. The legends say that those chosen by Ogun find themselves with a new understanding of the world. They feel the connection between iron and life, between strength and responsibility. For Ogun's warriors, the sword is not merely a weapon but a sacred tool, a symbol of the commitment they have made. A warrior blessed by Ogun is never alone. They feel the presence of Ogun in every heartbeat, every breath, knowing that he stands behind them, giving them strength to face even the darkest hours. Those who betray his principles, however, are said to feel his wrath as surely as if the earth itself were swallowing them whole. Ogun's followers know him as both the master of iron and the protector of justice. His warriors fight not only for victory but for what is right, for the values that Ogun himself embodies, loyalty, courage, and the promise of protection. Those who wear Ogun's symbols, an iron chain or a piece of steel, carry a part of him with them, a constant reminder of their duty. Even the tools they use, whether a farmer's plow or a blacksmith's hammer, are symbols of Ogun's blessing, reminders of his presence in everyday life. Ogun's spirit isn't limited to the battlefield, it lives in every effort, every struggle, every fight to protect and nurture life. In the quiet of the night, people tell stories of those who called on Ogun in times of danger, invoking his name and feeling a power flow through them that is as ancient as the earth itself. They speak of moments when, standing before an overwhelming threat, something in them shifted, a calmness, a certainty that allowed them to face even the most frightening challenges. They believe that this feeling, this surge of courage, is Ogun's spirit, that he lends his strength to those who fight with honor and purpose. Ogun's warriors and creatures are more than just symbols, they are the heart of a community's courage, a reminder that there is a protector who stands watch over them, who gives his strength to those who need it most. To believe in Ogun is to believe that, no matter how daunting the fight, there is a strength greater than fear, a fire that will not go out even when the night seems darkest. His spirit is the reminder that courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to stand and face it, with iron in one's heart and the power of Ogun by one's side. In the stillness of the night, when the streets are deserted and shadows stretch along the walls, there is a presence that watches over those who belong to a world hidden from many. This is the world of the Nanago, the vigilant and fierce spirit that protects the secret of Abaqua society of Cuba. Known to be guardians, yet more than just protectors, the Nanago are woven into the lives and souls of those who trust them, feared by outsiders, but revered by those under their watchful eyes. The Abaqua society, born from the depths of Afro-Cuban heritage, holds tight to its traditions, rituals, and mysteries. This group, bound by oaths and strengthened by loyalty, finds its heartbeat in the Nanago, who serve as both shield and witness. Through the passage of time, stories have emerged that tell of these spirits with reverence, describing them as beings who silently roam, always alert, always vigilant, their essence rooted in a sense of protection so powerful that it transcends mere guardianship. The Nanago are more than symbols, they are the unbreakable spirit that guards not only the physical but also the very soul of the Abaqua Brotherhood. These entities are not just passive watchers, they are fierce, fiercely loyal, and unyielding in their protection. Each Nanago is believed to carry an otherworldly power, one that connects to the energies of those they protect, one that listens and feels for even the faintest pulse of danger. When an Abaqua man steps into the night, he knows he is never alone. The presence of the Nanago fills the air around him, like a silent echo that warns away any threats. No one can see them, but their energy is unmistakable. It's in the hairs that stand on end, the sudden chill that signals they are near, like an invisible hand resting on the shoulder, reassuring yet fierce. Legends say that when an Abaqua is in peril, the Nanago awakens with a strength and wrath that can shake even the most hardened hearts. Their power is not something of flesh and bone, but something ancient, a deep-seated energy that courses through the hidden corners of Cuban cities. Those who seek to harm or invade the Abaqua's world have learned to beware this unseen force, for the Nanago's wrath is relentless. It is whispered that the Nanago can see into the very intentions of one's heart, able to sense ill will like a ripple in still water. And when they sense betrayal or harm, they do not simply watch, they strike with a vengeance that only the most devoted protectors could summon. Yet these spirits are not vengeful for the sake of vengeance. They represent a sense of loyalty, honor, and duty that has protected Abaqua society for generations. The Nanago, forged from the cries and chants of ancient ceremonies, exist to keep sacred the bonds of brotherhood and to protect the Abaqua from any threat. To the members of the society, the Nanago is a symbol of solidarity and unity, a silent reminder that one's duty to the group is as binding as the air they breathe. They know that when they honor the traditions, the Nanago are with them, standing guard with eyes that miss nothing, preserving the sanctity of their vows. In the eyes of outsiders, the Nanago are fearsome. There's a haunting feeling that accompanies even the mention of their name, a sense that they exist in a dimension just beyond reach, watching. Many believe that the Nanago can manipulate the forces around them, that they can stir the air or darken the shadows when the Abaqua are threatened. Some even claim to have heard the whispers of the Nanago, soft and almost inaudible, like the murmurs of ancestors that echo through time. The stories pass from one generation to the next, painting a picture of spirits who are as mystical as they are fierce, guardians who will never abandon their duty, no matter how many centuries pass. Within the Abaqua society, to be watched by the Nanago is to feel a sense of belonging like no other. It's a powerful connection to something vast and eternal, something that ties each member to his brothers and to the legacy of their ancestors. The Nanago are as ancient as the roots of the Abaqua itself, carrying the weight of tradition and history with a purpose that is pure and unbreakable. In times of doubt or hardship, the men of Abaqua remember that they are under the protection of the Nanago, and that they must honor the sacrifices of those who came before them. The bond between the Nanago and the Abaqua is more than just that of protector and protected, it is a sacred trust, a commitment that is honored through rituals, symbols, and stories passed down through whispered chants and quiet reverence. In every ceremony, in every gathering, the Abakwa know they are invoking the spirit of the Nanago, calling upon the strength and loyalty that has safeguarded their traditions through trials and threats. And when they leave, it is with the certainty that the Nanago will follow them, invisible but present, guarding the past and the future with an unyielding gaze. The Nanago are not just legends or mere folklore, they are a testament to the power of unity, to the idea that strength lies not only in flesh and bone but in the loyalty that transcends time. And for those who carry the name of Abakwa, there is no greater honor than to be watched over by these silent, watchful eyes. At the crossroads where worlds meet and choices must be made, there stands a figure both feared and beloved, Elegua, the ancient gatekeeper. He's the child with a mischievous smile, the old man who laughs when no one else is laughing. He watches each path, ready to change a person's course in the blink of an eye. To meet Elegua is to meet possibility, to feel the weight of choices, and to know that there is more behind each decision than can be seen. With his cunning eyes and infectious grin, he is the beginning and the end, a god of mischief and wisdom, with creatures and spirits that follow his every move. Elegua's laughter rings through the air, a sound that brings both fear and hope. He is no ordinary trickster, he's the spirit who stands at life's intersections, the keeper of every door, every boundary, and every possibility. He's both child and elder, and his nature shifts like the wind, unpredictable yet faithful to his purpose. He is the one who opens doors that lead to dreams or disasters, offering blessings wrapped in riddles, gifts hidden in trials. When Elegua appears, there's always a twist, something unexpected, because nothing is simple in his world, and he delights in making sure we remember that. Elegua's role as the guardian of crossroads is not just symbolic, but woven into the fabric of daily life, and his presence is felt everywhere in Cuba. People whisper his name, leaving offerings at crossroads, doorways, and places where paths meet, for they know that to honor him is to ask for his guidance and, hopefully, his kindness. It's said that Elegua loves candies, toys, and simple pleasures, and so his followers leave him sweets and tiny trinkets, hoping to catch his favor and his blessing on the paths they choose. These offerings are tokens of respect, acknowledgments that in life, Elegua's eyes are always watching, and his laughter is never far. But Elegua is not alone. His world is full of creatures and spirits, beings that move as shadows in his wake. These spirits, like him, dwell in the in-between spaces, invisible yet profoundly present. They are the whisper of the wind at dusk, the shadow that flickers when no one is there. People say they follow Elegua's commands, that they help him carry out his playful and sometimes haunting tricks. These beings have no name, but they are there, watching, moving in sync with Elegua, as if drawn to his energy, his ability to shift reality in ways that defy understanding. Each spirit adds to the unpredictability that surrounds Elegua, making his presence all the more mysterious, all the more potent. In Cuban folklore, Elegua is also known to guide the lost souls, those who wander between worlds and need a path back to peace. He is a shepherd of spirits, leading them to where they belong, offering solace to the unsettled. It's said that Elegua knows the language of the forgotten, that he speaks in ways only the spirits can understand, guiding them with his laughter and his tricks. He helps them find their way, reminding the living of the thin veil that separates our world from theirs. The spirits that follow him are those who once had no guide, no protector, and Elegua became the voice that calls them home. There are countless stories of Elegua's mischief, tales of how he changes the fate of those who cross him or fail to honor his presence. In one story, a man once mocked Elegua, thinking him no more than a myth. That night, the man found every door closed to him, every road leading to nowhere. For hours he wandered, until he left a small offering at a deserted crossroad, a humble apology. Only then did he find his way home. Elegua had not punished him out of cruelty but had reminded him of respect, of the need to honor forces beyond understanding. Elegua's power lies not only in his mischief but in his wisdom, a wisdom that asks for humility from those who encounter him. For those who respect him, Elegua brings guidance and blessings that can change lives. He can open doors to dreams, to wealth, to love, but he does so on his own terms. No one can bribe Elegua, and his blessings come with lessons. If he grants prosperity, it is not without a challenge, a small twist to ensure that his gift is never taken for granted. He is both generous and exacting, playful and serious, a guardian who asks us to remember that every choice matters, that every path carries weight. Even in his trickery, there is kindness. Elegua teaches without words, using his tricks to show us the depth of our choices, the value of intention. He reminds us that every path is alive, that every decision shapes not only the future but the person who makes it. His laughter may sound mischievous, but behind it is the wisdom of one who has seen countless lives unfold, who knows that sometimes the hardest lessons are the most important. Elegua is a reminder that in life, nothing is certain, that each step we take is filled with potential and consequence. Elegua is also a friend to the innocent, a guardian of children, those who live with the same carefree spirit he embodies. When children laugh and play, some say it's Elegua's spirit joining them, that his joy fills their games and their laughter. For them, he is not a trickster but a playmate, a spirit who understands their world, who protects them with a love that is simple and pure. To the elders, he is a guide, a reminder of life's twists and turns, of the importance of respect and humility. In every Cuban household, and every doorway where offerings are left, there is the hope that Elegua watches over them, that he guards their homes, their lives, their choices. In the end, Elegua is not only a trickster or gatekeeper. He is a presence, a force that reminds us of life's complexity, its unpredictability, and its beauty. He shows us that every choice matters, that every path is a story waiting to be told. Through his laughter, his mischief, and his wisdom, Elegua teaches us to respect the journey, to honor the crossroads, and to trust that even in the unknown, there is magic. Softly, the river whispers, its voice rising with the hum of the forest. And in those whispers, her name drifts like a prayer, Mama Chola. She is the spirit of the waters, the bringer of wealth and fertility, a force both gentle and powerful, mysterious and comforting. For those who seek her blessings, she's as close as the flowing river, a spirit whose presence fills every curve and turn of the water. She doesn't shout, she doesn't storm. She is felt in the calm strength of nature's currents and in the glimmer of sunlight on the river's surface. To know Mama Chola is to understand that wealth isn't always counted in gold or possessions. Her treasures lie in the gifts of life, the promise of new beginnings, and the richness that comes from connecting deeply with the world around us. In the belief system of Palomayombe, she stands as a goddess of fertility, beauty, and abundance. Mama Chola's essence is that of life itself. She is in the earth, the water, the harvests that nourish families, and the warmth that stirs between people. Those who honor her seek prosperity, yes, but also love and the power to nurture life. They say Mama Chola's closest messenger is the serpent, and to see a snake by the water is to feel her watching, listening. It's more than a creature, it's her sign, her spirit made visible. The snake slips silently through the water, flowing as naturally as a breath. In its movements, there's wisdom, a quiet understanding of survival, of growth, of shedding the old to make room for the new. To Mama Chola's followers, the serpent is sacred. It carries messages of resilience and change, symbols of rebirth that pulse with Mama Chola's energy, reminding us that life is ever renewing, always in motion. The legends say that when Mama Chola is near, the river shines a little brighter, its flow steady and calm, its depth full of promises. Farmers and healers pray to her, families call on her for the children they long to bring into the world, and lovers hope she'll bless them with passion as unbreakable as the river's course. To invoke her, they bring honey, yellow flowers, and perfumes to the riverbanks. They give her gifts as tokens of respect, knowing that these offerings might bring her grace upon their lives. The scents fill the air, drifting over the water, and somewhere, they believe, Mama Chola smiles, her presence drawn closer by their devotion. Mama Chola's myth holds that the snake is her trusted guide, a creature who navigates the world as she does, gracefully, fearlessly, in tune with nature's mysteries. To see the snake is to feel a ripple of both fear and wonder, a reminder that life and death, prosperity and hardship, love and loss, all share space in her waters. For Mama Chola, fertility is not only about creating life, but about keeping the spirit of life moving, unafraid of the shadows or of what lies ahead. Her snake is there to remind those who seek her that beauty and strength come from facing every part of ourselves, even those we might wish to hide. Her river is the source of strength, of life-giving energy, and yet it holds its dangers. Those who seek Mama Chola's wealth know it does not come without respect for her power. If her gifts are taken for granted, the river might rise in anger, the waters turning against those who once received her blessings. In her way, Mama Chola is both nurturing and fierce. She offers her gifts freely, but never to those who come with greed in their hearts. Her blessings flow like water, open-handed and generous, but only to those who approach her with true intentions, with a heart that seeks not to take but to receive. She holds a particular power over love, a force as mysterious as the river itself. The snake, gliding through her waters, represents the fluid, transformative nature of love, a bond that grows and changes, that bends and sometimes breaks, but always returns to the source. In Cuban legend, young lovers often seek Mama Chola's blessing, leaving offerings by the water's edge, asking for her guidance to help their love endure. For those struggling to conceive, she is the answer to their silent prayers. Her strength is that of creation itself, the unbreakable force of life that carries the power to bring dreams to life. Mama Chola's presence feels like a heartbeat, a steady rhythm that pulses through the forest, the fields, the mountains, filling each place with her spirit. In the village tales, she is seen as a mother, as a sister, as a protector. Some say they've seen her form in the mist above the river or heard her voice in the sound of the water over stones. They speak of her with a respect that is almost sacred, with a love that runs just as deep as the rivers she calls home. For those who are close to her, Mama Chola is more than a spirit. She's a reminder that the earth's riches are gifts, not possessions. The wealth she brings is not just about gold or land, but about finding abundance in life's simplest pleasures, the health of a family, the laughter of children, the security of a home, the love of a partner. Her blessings are felt most deeply in moments of quiet joy, in the peace that comes from knowing that, like the river, life will continue on, even through hardship, even in times of loss. Through Mama Chola, the river becomes a place of healing, a sanctuary where worries are carried away with the current, where the spirit can find rest. Her water holds the weight of many prayers, each one flowing downstream, becoming part of the river's eternal journey. She asks nothing in return, only that her presence be honored, her gifts respected. Her followers know that to receive her blessings is to feel her spirit in their lives, her touch in the simple beauty of the world around them. In every drop of water, in every curve of the river, there lies a piece of Mama Chola's spirit, a touch of the wealth and fertility she offers. Her snake, forever watchful, glides silently through her waters, a quiet reminder of her power, her grace, her wisdom. For those who call upon her, she is the source of life, a presence as gentle and fierce as nature itself, a spirit who reminds them that the earth's greatest gifts are given freely, if only we have the heart to accept them. As night falls over the Cuban countryside, villagers say you can hear them, the sounds of ghostly footsteps and the clink of armor echoing faintly through the humid air. Long ago, these were not echoes but the very real sounds of conquest, when Spanish soldiers landed with dreams of gold and power, their armored footsteps marking each corner of the land. Today, however, they say those same conquistadors are still here, but not as conquerors. They roam as restless spirits, tethered to a land they tried to claim, haunting the very earth that remembers their cruelty and ambition. In hushed voices, stories are passed down of these spectral conquistadors, whose ghostly figures are glimpsed at the edge of dark forests or by rivers that glisten under the moonlight. They're pale and solemn, no longer filled with the pride and greed that brought them across the ocean. Their shadows blend into the landscape as if seeking something they lost long ago. Some believe they're trapped, bound to the island as a punishment for the suffering they brought. Their spirits wander as a reminder of a dark past, one that refuses to fade, haunting those who remember and retelling the pain of lives uprooted and lands stripped bare. The stories of these spectral conquistadors are not merely tales of ghosts, but of vengeance and justice. The Taino people were the first to encounter the conquistadors, welcoming them at first, but soon realizing the violent greed that followed. The conquerors enslaved, oppressed, and devastated the local communities, leaving behind scars so deep that even death could not end the reckoning. To this day, people believe that the spirits of these Taino ancestors watch the conquistadors as they wander, forcing them to face their actions even after life has left their bodies. It's said that when these ghosts meet in the misty night air, you can hear the echoes of whispered Taino chants, ghostly voices rising like smoke, claiming their power back in the only way left to them. In the small towns and villages, the elders tell of strange occurrences that happen when these spirits are near. Crops wilt, fires flicker in strange patterns, and animals grow skittish, sensing something that human eyes cannot see. And on certain nights, as you walk along the deserted paths that once saw colonial soldiers pass, you might feel an unsettling chill creep up your spine. Many people say it's a warning from the Taino spirits, who guard the land even in death, keeping the conquistadors forever in their view, forever bound to the soil they desecrated. But it's more than a ghost story. For the people of Cuba, these tales are a testament to survival. The haunting of the conquistadors represents a form of poetic justice, a reminder that cruelty and greed leave their mark, even beyond death. The spirits of these conquistadors, once proud and fierce, now roam as figures of regret and remorse. They have become symbols of all that colonialism took and of the resilience that has endured despite it. Children grow up hearing these stories, not as bedtime tales, but as memories, warnings from history that resonate with the pulse of the island itself. As the conquistadors' spirits walk, their spectral forms are weighed down by their armor, clinking with every step like a chain binding them to their mistakes. Their faces are hidden beneath ghostly helmets, expressions lost to time, but their steps are slow, weary, almost resigned. Some legends say that their leader, a particularly cruel and ambitious conquistador, appears on especially stormy nights, his ghostly figure framed by lightning as he stares out over the island with hollow, empty eyes. When people see him, they say they feel a strange mix of fear and pity, for even the fiercest of souls cannot escape the judgment of history. Sometimes, the spectral conquistadors are seen clutching maps, as though still looking for the gold they never found, still driven by desires that now mock them from beyond the grave. They wander the mountains and forests, searching, yet finding only shadows. Villagers speak of mysterious maps appearing in strange places, drawings in the sand, etched in stones, lines that lead nowhere. They believe these marks are left by the conquistadors' ghosts, still driven by a greed that gives them no peace. But the Taino spirits, forever watchful, scatter these markings like dust, a reminder that true power lies not in conquest but in reverence for the land and its people. Children who hear these stories grow up knowing that the land remembers. They're taught to respect the earth, to honor the spirits of their ancestors who faced cruelty with resilience, and to know that greed has consequences. Elders tell the young that if they listen carefully in the stillness of the night, they might hear faint voices carried on the wind. Those who hear it feel a sadness, a sorrow that whispers of lives lost, of dreams shattered. But they also feel a sense of pride in their heritage, knowing that their history is remembered, and that those who tried to take it are forever haunted by the very land they wish to own. To this day, offerings are sometimes left in hidden places, flowers, and small tokens, given with a quiet reverence to the Taino spirits who continue to protect the island. People remember and honor the past, even as they move forward. They believe that in keeping the memory alive, they keep their ancestors' spirits at peace while ensuring that the ghosts of the conquistadors remain trapped, shadows forever wandering under the weight of their own mistakes. It's a promise that the injustices of the past will never be forgotten, and that those who brought them here will never truly find rest. And so, these spectral figures remain, haunting the places where rivers meet forests, where the night hides their forms, as they trudge through the memories of their own deeds, watched by the land and the spirits who call it home. Under the silvery glow of the Cuban moon, there are whispers of a woman who walks alone through the night. A woman whose spirit, pure and timeless, drifts through villages, fields, and mountains, touching those who have lost their way. Her eyes shine with an eternal, quiet wisdom, her gaze a blend of strength and sorrow, as though she carries the weight of countless lives and stories within her. She is the Marianismo spirit, an idealized presence that echoes through Cuban folklore, embodying both the warmth of a mother's embrace and the fierce, protective energy of a guardian. People say she appears to those who are lost or suffering, her presence a calming balm in times of fear and uncertainty. Marianismo, the cultural ideal of the virtuous, self-sacrificing woman, is deeply rooted in Cuba's heritage. From generation to generation, this ideal has shaped the image of women as nurturing protectors, their strength and endurance hidden beneath gentle smiles and soft voices. But in the stories that circle around Cuban villages, this spirit becomes something ethereal, transcending the living realm to become a guide, a protector, a healer of wandering souls. She is a presence that exists between worlds, neither fully alive nor fully gone, her love and guidance woven into the very essence of the Cuban landscape. In one legend, they speak of La Dama de Blanco, the Lady in White. She is said to be a ghostly figure dressed in flowing white garments, her form delicate and soft, but her spirit unbreakable. Villagers claim that she appears on misty nights near the roads or deep in the mountains, guiding those who are lost or weary. Many travelers recount that when they had lost their way, they suddenly felt a gentle hand on their shoulder, a warm touch guiding them in the right direction. As they followed, they would sometimes catch a glimpse of her, a faint figure just ahead, her white dress almost blending with the mist. Her pace as calm as if she were walking along a familiar path she'd walked 1,000 times before. For those who encounter her, La Dama de Blanco feels more than a protector, she feels like a mother. Her spirit exudes a sense of warmth and quiet strength, and those who see her often describe a feeling of safety and calm, as if she absorbs their fear and replaces it with peace. Some say she is the spirit of a mother who lost her children and now wanders in search of others to care for, while others believe she is the embodiment of the Virgin Mary herself, appearing in a form familiar to the people of Cuba. Whoever she may be, her presence has become a symbol of resilience and kindness, a reminder that love endures beyond death. Another legend tells of La Virgen del Camino, the Virgin of the Road, who is said to watch over travelers as they journey through Cuba's winding roads. On dark, moonless nights, when fear and isolation creep in, travelers say they sometimes see her standing by the roadside, her figure bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. She is a quiet witness to the struggles of the weary, and in her gaze, people find solace and courage to carry on. It's said that she appears to those who feel lost not just in direction, but in purpose, offering them a reminder of hope, guiding them forward with a patience that only a spirit beyond time can possess. This spirit of Marianismo, of unwavering patience, is celebrated in homes across Cuba. Grandmothers, mothers, and daughters carry her essence in their own lives, embodying quiet resilience in the face of hardship, just as these ghostly women do in the tales. Each story of these female spirits is a tribute to the strength and nurturing power of Cuban women, a reminder of the sacrifices they make and the love they give. These spirits appear to help those in need, much like the women who raise families, work tirelessly, and offer support to neighbors, friends, and even strangers. In every story, the Marianismo spirit is not one of weakness or submission but of profound strength, wrapped in a cloak of gentleness and grace. One of the most touching legends is that of La Madre Sola, the lonely mother, who is believed to wander the fields at night, searching for children who have lost their way. It's said that those who are frightened, whether young or old, will sometimes feel her presence, a soft lullaby on the wind, a gentle whisper reassuring them that they are safe. The lonely mother is believed to carry the spirits of the lost, cradling them as a mother would her child, until they are ready to move on. Her story reminds the living of the bond between mother and child, a connection that cannot be severed even by death. And for those who have lost their mothers, La Madre Sola is a comforting reminder that their loved one's spirit is never truly gone, she remains with them, watching, guiding, loving. These myths of the Marianismo spirit are woven into Cuban life, breathing strength into moments of hardship and offering comfort in times of sorrow. In a culture where family and community are at the heart of everything, these stories serve as more than entertainment. They are a source of strength and a gentle nudge to be kind, resilient, and compassionate. The Marianismo spirit is an embodiment of the idealized woman, a guardian of the home and the heart, and even in her ghostly form, she upholds the values that define Cuba. Through her, Cuban folklore speaks of the virtues of patience, empathy, and quiet strength. It is a message passed down to daughters and granddaughters, urging them to remember the power that lies within. Even in their most challenging moments, these women are told to look to the Marianismo spirit, to remember that there is grace in endurance and beauty in compassion. The ghostly women who appear in the night are not just spirits, they are echoes of generations past, reminders that strength does not always shout, sometimes it speaks softly, guiding the lost back home with a gentle hand and an understanding heart. On moonlit nights, when the streets fall silent and shadows stretch long into the darkness, there are those who claim to hear the soft, chilling echo of paws padding behind them. Some say it's El Cadejo, the phantom dog, watching from the shadows, his eyes gleaming with something that lies beyond comprehension, half protector, half curse. El Cadejo's legend spreads through whispers in the night, tales passed from grandparents to grandchildren, each story preserving the power of this spectral being, a presence as old as the island's memories. The tale of El Cadejo is wrapped in mystery, a creature that exists somewhere between good and evil, never fully one or the other. As the story goes, there are two Cadejos, one pure white and gentle, the other midnight black, as fierce as it is fearsome. These phantom dogs, though identical in form, could not be more different in purpose. They appear when least expected, each for reasons only known to the heavens, as if summoned by forces beyond human understanding. The white Cadejo, as people say, is a guardian spirit. When it appears, it often emerges in the dim light of dawn or twilight, a quiet protector whose gaze holds a strange peace. Those lucky enough to encounter the white Cadejo say it brings comfort, walking quietly beside them, guarding against lurking dangers. This Cadejo is no ordinary ghost dog, it's believed to be a spirit of good intentions, shielding travelers, particularly those burdened by worry or sorrow. A gentle creature, it keeps the evils of the night at bay, warding off malevolent spirits and guiding the weary back to safety. Some say they have seen it on roads where travelers have gone missing, as if it waits to offer its silent companionship to anyone in need. In contrast, the black Cadejo is said to be born of curses and shadows, a creature that appears in moments of rage or despair, with a terrifying presence that chills the blood. Those who glimpse its eyes, burning like embers, are haunted by that gaze, feeling the weight of their own fears reflected back at them. The black Cadejo is no protector, it is a harbinger of dark consequences. Some believe it appears to those who have strayed from the path of righteousness, punishing them or reminding them of the dangers of losing themselves to anger or hatred. While the white Cadejo watches from a distance, respecting the boundaries of the living, the black Cadejo circles closer, bearing teeth that seem as sharp as the night itself. In its presence, one feels not just fear, but a consuming darkness, as if facing the very embodiment of their worst regrets and misdeeds. The Cadejo's origin is a story wrapped in tragedy and redemption, a tale of two brothers who suffered a terrible fate. One brother was kind, the other overcome by jealousy, and they met their ends in a heartbreaking struggle that transformed them into spectral creatures, the white Cadejo born of innocence, the black Cadejo forged from bitterness. In this tale, the brothers were cursed to walk the earth as these phantom dogs, forever tied to their opposing natures, forever bound to the lives of those they encounter. Through these two spectral beings, people are reminded that light and darkness are intertwined, that every soul carries a mix of goodness and sorrow, and that the balance between them is as fragile as life itself. In Cuban folklore, these twin spirits of El Cadejo resonate deeply. The white Cadejo embodies the spirit of forgiveness, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a glimmer of protection, of love that exists beyond anger and hurt. In communities where poverty and hardship have been a constant, the white Cadejo is seen as a source of strength, a quiet assurance that even when the road seems long and treacherous, one is never truly alone. Parents tell their children that the white Cadejo walks beside them, that it protects them from misfortune and shields them from harm. For children who grow up fearing the night, the white Cadejo becomes a symbol of bravery, a companion they cannot see but feel by their side when shadows close in. The black Cadejo, on the other hand, warns of the price of anger and despair. In communities marked by struggles and hardships, it is seen as a reminder of the dangers of letting bitterness take root, a spectral figure that appears when people lose themselves in the darkness of their own minds. People say the Black Cadejo visits those who have wandered too far from the values that hold their families and communities together. It walks in silence, yet its presence is overwhelming, a stark reminder of consequences, of the power of fear and anger when left unchecked. Though terrifying, the Black Cadejo is seen not as pure evil, but as a warning of what may happen if people lose their way. Legends of El Cadejo have traveled far and wide, blending with the spiritual beliefs of Cuba, mixing the symbolism of European, African, and indigenous traditions into one enduring tale. This duality of the white and black Cadejos serves as a metaphor for the complex balance between good and evil in life, showing that protection and danger often walk side by side. Even now, there are those who speak of encounters with the Cadejo, recounting stories of an unexplained sense of peace or fear, of footsteps that followed them unseen, of a spectral presence that shifted with their every step. On certain nights, as the wind stirs the leaves and the air grows heavy with silence, people still keep watch, feeling a primal shiver that hints at the Cadejo's presence. They say you can tell the Cadejo's approach by the stillness that settles around, a quiet so profound it touches the soul, pulling memories and fears to the surface. Those who have encountered the white Cadejo carry a strange comfort in their hearts, a quiet knowing that something beyond this world has guided them. Those who have faced the black Cadejo walk away with the weight of their choices, carrying with them a silent reminder of the shadows that live within. To this day, El Cadejo remains one of Cuba's most haunting and beloved legends, a tale that reflects the heart of human nature. It is a story of love and resentment, of protection and punishment, of light and darkness intertwined. The Cadejo's story walks quietly beside the people of Cuba, as enduring as the moonlit roads and as timeless as the spirit of the island itself. On quiet nights when the moon hides behind clouds and the fields stretch into darkness, a flicker of light sometimes appears, floating, drifting like a lonely soul over the ground. This is La Luz Mala, the bad light, a mysterious, wandering glow that unsettles even the bravest of travelers. For centuries, people in rural communities have whispered about these eerie lights, describing them as spirits of the restless or as warnings from the other side. The sight of La Luz Mala slipping through the night fills the heart with both wonder and dread, stirring a primal fear that brings the unknown too close for comfort. The stories about La Luz Mala are countless, woven into Cuban folklore by generations who have encountered its ghostly glow. Some say the light hovers just above the ground, moving as though guided by an invisible hand. At first, it appears gentle, a soft light against the darkness, almost luring you closer. But those who know the tales warn against following it. They say it leads to danger, drawing the unsuspecting off the path and deeper into the unknown. It's a reminder of the unseen forces that still live among us, watching, waiting, perhaps searching for someone bold or foolish enough to draw near. Many believe that La Luz Mala is a restless soul, a spirit trapped between worlds, bound to the earth for reasons only it knows. Some say it's the spirit of someone who passed with unfinished business or a life cut tragically short. Its light is thought to be the embodiment of pain, a reminder of dreams and lives that never had the chance to bloom. It is as if these spirits roam, casting their glow over the fields, searching for the peace they were denied. Elders say that each wandering light carries a story, a fragment of sorrow that clings to the earth, refusing to fade. Others tell a different tale, one that warns of treasure buried deep beneath the ground, hidden away by those who never wished for it to be found. According to legend, the light of La Luz Mala marks these places, standing as a guardian over the riches and secrets of the past. But this treasure is cursed, and to seek it is to bring misfortune upon oneself. Some say that the closer you get, the brighter the light grows, intensifying as if warning you to stay away. Those who ignore the warning may find that the treasures they unearth bring no joy, only hardship and sorrow, like a shadow that lingers long after the glow has faded. In rural communities, where these stories are most often told, the light has become more than a tale, it is a symbol of the supernatural forces believed to watch over the land. Farmers and travelers who wander into the countryside after nightfall often keep a wary eye on the fields, mindful of La Luz Mala's unpredictable path. There are stories of people who have encountered it, standing frozen as the light drifted near, feeling an overwhelming sense of foreboding that lingered long after they were home. Even those who have never seen it feel its presence, as though La Luz Mala has a spirit that moves silently through the night, binding the land to its mysteries. Some believe that La Luz Mala appears as a warning, a harbinger of death or misfortune. There are tales of the light appearing near a home, only for the household to suffer a tragedy in the days that follow. In these stories, the light serves as a messenger from the beyond, offering a solemn reminder of life's fragility. People say it comes when the boundary between life and death is thin, when souls prepare to pass from one world to the next. Those who have seen it speak of a feeling that touches the soul, as if La Luz Mala knows more than it reveals, holding secrets it cannot share. But while some fear it, others see it as a symbol of connection, a link to ancestors and spirits long gone but never forgotten. For them, La Luz Mala is not simply a wandering light, but a manifestation of loved ones keeping watch, ensuring that the past is not forgotten. In moments of solitude, when the night seems endless, people remember their ancestors, sensing their presence in the glow of La Luz Mala. The light becomes a comforting reminder that, even in the dark, we are never truly alone. The sight of La Luz Mala touches everyone differently. For some, it is a solemn reminder of the pain and hardship woven into the land's history. For others, it serves as a connection to the unseen, an invitation to reflect on those who came before. Whether it is feared or revered, La Luz Mala remains an enduring mystery, a light that glows not just in the fields but in the hearts of those who share its story. It is said that if you see La Luz Mala and it begins to follow you, the only escape is to hold your breath or place a blade of grass between your teeth. Folklore insists that these small acts can break the spell, allowing you to walk away untouched. Many people carry these protective charms as they journey through the countryside, taking comfort in the rituals that bind them to their ancestors, feeling a measure of safety against the unknown forces that linger in the night. La Luz Mala is more than just a wandering light. It is a spirit, a warning, a reminder, and a guide, all wrapped into one haunting glow. It holds the fears, the memories, and the mysteries of countless lives, casting its glow over the land like a timeless guardian. And as long as there are dark nights and quiet fields, as long as the stories continue to be told, La Luz Mala will continue to drift through the Cuban countryside, stirring hearts with a light that shines from the world beyond. On silent, moonlit nights near rivers and streams, a chilling wail sometimes fills the air, a sorrowful, lingering cry that pierces the darkness. It is said that this is La Llorona, the weeping woman, eternally mourning her lost children. For those who hear her cry, it's unforgettable, as if her grief wraps itself around the soul, calling back memories of loss and regret. In Cuban adaptations of her legend, La Llorona is more than a ghost. She is a tragic figure whose story of love, loss, and desperation has carved its place into the hearts of those who hear her tale. La Llorona's story is told in whispers, the way one might share a personal grief too great to bear alone. Her legend begins with a woman, once beautiful and full of life, who falls in love, often with a man of higher status. Their love, though passionate, becomes poisoned over time. Some versions say he abandons her for another, breaking her heart. Others tell of his betrayal, leaving her alone and scorned. In her anguish and loss of reason, she commits the unthinkable, taking her children's lives, casting them into the waters that now carry her grief. Realizing the horror of her actions, she is consumed by remorse. She throws herself into the water, hoping to be reunited with them in death, but instead, she is condemned to wander eternally, seeking the children she can never hold again. In Cuba, her weeping is often heard near bodies of water, her spirit trapped along riverbanks and lagoons where the mist rises thick. Those who claim to have seen her describe a woman in white, her face hidden beneath a veil, her form moving slowly and mournfully as she calls out for her children, mischievous, mischievous. The sound is haunting, pulling at something deep within. It is a cry that resonates not only with those who have lost, but with anyone who knows the pain of family torn apart. Her sorrow becomes a reminder of the fragility of love and the weight of loss that hangs in the hearts of those left behind. People speak of seeing La Llorona not as a ghostly figure meant to frighten, but as a tragic vision of what becomes of those who surrender to despair. Her story brings out the painful truths of family, of bonds so strong that they tie the living to the dead. Her tale is a warning, reminding mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, that love can be both beautiful and destructive. In the Cuban countryside, she has become a symbol of the heartbreak that exists in every family, the shadow of regret that sometimes lingers, echoing through generations. Some families keep their children away from rivers after dark, fearing that La Llorona might mistake them for her own. Others believe that if you hear her weeping, it is best to avoid looking her way, for those who meet her gaze are said to feel a sadness so deep it becomes unbearable. It's said she appears at night to those who are lost, guiding them toward the water with a sorrowful kindness that is both comforting and dangerous. Her cry, her voice that trembles with grief, seems to call not only to her lost children but to all who feel abandoned, as if she senses the sorrow in their hearts, reaching out with her own unending sadness. Some say that La Llorona's sorrow brings about strange occurrences, especially for those with broken hearts. Lovers who have been separated, parents who have lost children, and those who carry grief too heavy to bear often speak of hearing her cry, as if she is sharing their pain. It's believed that her spirit is drawn to those who carry a burden of regret, offering a kind of tragic companionship. While her presence is eerie, it is also strangely comforting, a reminder that even in despair, we are not truly alone. In Cuban folklore, La Llorona's story also reflects the fear of consequences that come from neglecting those we love. Her legend reminds mothers of the sacred duty of caring for their children, of the need to protect them from harm. Fathers, too, are reminded of the weight of responsibility and the risks that come with betrayal or neglect. In rural communities, parents warn their children that La Llorona watches over those who fail to care for their family. In this way, her spirit becomes not only a symbol of loss but a guardian, ensuring that family remains a bond unbroken. For those who are willing to listen, La Llorona's weeping carries a message, a haunting reminder that grief, once invited, never truly leaves. It transforms a person, binding them to the past, to memories that cannot be undone. In Cuba, the legend of La Llorona serves as both cautionary tale and heartbreaking reminder that love, once lost, can become a wound that never heals. Through her, the spirits of the past are ever present, mingling with the living, calling them to honor the bonds they hold dear. On still nights when the world feels hushed, there are those who say you can hear her. Her cry drifts across the water, a sound that cuts through the silence like a memory from long ago. And in that moment, when her sorrow touches the heart, one feels the weight of generations, the stories of countless lives intertwined by love and loss. La Llorona's weeping becomes a song for all who have lost something precious, for all who carry a sadness that cannot be spoken. She is a part of every heart, a reminder that while love may pass, its echoes linger on, haunting us, holding us, reminding us of the beauty and pain that come with being human. On warm Caribbean nights, when the waves lap gently against the shore and the moonlight dances on the water, stories of the Sirena Cubana come to life. She is not just any mermaid, she is a symbol of beauty and mystery, a creature of the deep whose enchanting songs are said to lure sailors and fishermen alike. But the legend of the Cuban mermaid goes far beyond mere tales of seduction and danger. Rooted in the Taíno culture, this myth is intertwined with the very spirit of the island, reflecting the dreams, fears, and the unbreakable connection between humans and the sea. The Taíno people, the original inhabitants of the Caribbean, believed in a world filled with spirits and deities that governed the natural world. Among these was a figure resembling the mermaid, a being who represented both the power and peril of the ocean. She was seen as a guardian of the waters, embodying the beauty and ferocity of nature. The Taíno referred to her as a symbol of fertility, life, and the mysterious depths of the sea, reflecting their respect for the ocean as a source of sustenance and a force to be reckoned with. As stories traveled through time, the Sirena Cubana transformed into a captivating figure, often depicted with flowing hair, shimmering scales, and a voice as sweet as honey. Folklore tells of her swimming gracefully beneath the waves, her laughter echoing through the ocean depths. Fishermen speak of encounters with her, of moments when they could hear her song carried on the wind, a melody that promises adventure and a connection to something greater. It is said that those who hear her song are blessed with good fortune, while those who dare to approach her might find themselves enchanted, swept away by her beauty and charm. But the tales of the Sirena Cubana are not all blissful. Many also recount stories of encounters that turned into nightmares. Fishermen have warned their children about the dangers of swimming alone at night, telling tales of those who disappeared without a trace, said to have been taken by the mermaid. In these stories, she becomes a figure of caution, a reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature and the potential consequences of ignoring its power. The sirena, while alluring, holds an edge of danger, reflecting the complex relationship between humans and the sea, a relationship that is often filled with both wonder and fear. In modern times, sightings of the sirena cubana have become part of the cultural fabric, weaving through conversations among fishermen and beachgoers. Locals share stories of mysterious glimpses of a woman in the water, her silhouette shimmering under the sun. Some claim to have seen her lounging on rocks, combing her long hair, while others have heard her singing softly as the waves crash around her. These encounters create a sense of community, uniting people through shared experiences and a belief in the magic that lingers just beneath the surface of everyday life. The connection between the sirena and the sea runs deep, resonating with the essence of Cuban culture. She embodies the spirit of resilience, reflecting the strength of a people shaped by their environment. The ocean is both a source of sustenance and a powerful force that demands respect. Through the sirena's tales, the struggles and triumphs of the Cuban people are echoed, a reminder of their enduring connection to the land and the waters that surround them. Families often share these stories around warm gatherings, with children wide-eyed and full of wonder. The legend of the sirena cubana inspires dreams of adventure and exploration, igniting imaginations and fostering a sense of belonging to something larger than themselves. When they hear the whispers of her song in the gentle breeze, children are reminded of the beauty and mystery of their heritage. As the sun sets and the sky is painted with hues of orange and pink, the stories of the sirena cubana come alive. The sound of waves crashing against the shore harmonizes with the laughter of families enjoying their time together, creating an atmosphere rich with culture and history. The mermaid is not just a figure from the past, she lives on in the hearts of the people, a reminder of the strength found in their traditions and the bond they share with the sea. The tales of the sirena cubana also serve as a bridge between generations, passing down not only stories but lessons of love, loss, and the importance of respecting nature. Parents teach their children to appreciate the ocean's beauty and understand its dangers, ensuring that the legend of the sirena continues to thrive. The mermaid becomes a guardian, watching over the waters and the people who call them home. In many ways, the sirena embodies the hopes and dreams of those who seek adventure and connection. She represents the longing for freedom, the desire to explore uncharted territories, and the universal yearning for love and acceptance. Through her, the people of Cuba can express their innermost feelings, their fears and aspirations intertwined with the rhythm of the waves. Whether seen as a benevolent protector or a dangerous enchantress, the sirena cubana remains a powerful symbol of the intricate relationship between humanity and nature. Her song, haunting and beautiful, continues to echo through the hearts of those who listen, reminding them of the magic that lies just beneath the surface of everyday life. The stories shared on moonlit nights by the sea become a part of the cultural legacy, woven into the very fabric of Cuba, where the waves whisper the name of the mermaid to all who dare to dream. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the waves, the legend of the Ciguapa comes to life. This enchanting sea spirit, with her long flowing hair and mesmerizing beauty, is a figure woven into the fabric of Caribbean folklore. She is said to roam the coastal shores, a seductive siren whose song can make even the most hardened sailor forget his way. Many who hear her voice find themselves drawn to her, unable to resist the pull of her charm and the mystery that surrounds her. Originating from the Taíno culture, the Ciguapa is more than just a pretty face. Her legend reflects the deep connection that the Taíno people had with the sea, a relationship filled with both reverence and fear. The Taíno viewed her as a guardian of the waters, a spirit who both nourished and endangered those who dared to tread upon her domain. She is often depicted with feet turned backward, a feature that adds to her mystique. This peculiar trait symbolizes her ability to lead unsuspecting sailors astray, taking them on a journey to places they never intended to go. The Ciguapa story has transformed over time, morphing into various interpretations that reflect the beliefs and values of different cultures. While her allure is undeniable, she also embodies the unpredictability of nature. She represents the ocean's beauty, but also its dangers. The stories often tell of sailors who became entranced by her song, only to find themselves lost in a world of waves and shadows, forever wandering in search of a way back. These tales serve as a reminder of the ocean's power, a force that can enchant and ensnare those who underestimate it. The Siguapa is not merely a figure of caution but a symbol of desire and longing. Her beauty captivates hearts, and many are left breathless at the thought of her. She embodies the ultimate seduction of the sea, drawing in those who yearn for adventure, love, or perhaps something deeper, a connection to the unknown. In a world that often feels isolating, her call can feel like an invitation to escape, to leave behind the mundane and embrace the extraordinary. Local fishermen often share stories of their encounters with the Siguapa. They speak of moonlit nights when the air is thick with magic, and the sound of her laughter dances on the breeze. Those who are brave enough to venture out to sea under the light of the moon sometimes claim to have seen her silhouette gliding through the water, her hair trailing like seaweed behind her. The beauty of her form, illuminated by the moon, is enough to make any heart race. Yet, for every story of seduction, there is a cautionary tale of sailors who paid the ultimate price for their fascination. Modern interpretations of the Siguapa continue to evolve, blending elements of her original legend with contemporary themes. She has become a symbol of feminine power and independence, representing women who challenge societal norms and embrace their true selves. In a world that often tries to confine and define, the Siguapa stands as a figure of liberation, reminding us that embracing our desires and dreams can lead us down paths of self-discovery and empowerment. Despite her seductive nature, the Siguapa can also be a source of strength for those who feel lost. Her songs, while enchanting, also tell stories of sorrow and longing, echoing the experiences of many who have faced loss or heartbreak. Through her, the emotions of love and despair are intertwined, creating a complex narrative that resonates deeply with the human experience. She becomes a mirror for those who seek solace in their struggles, a reminder that even in the depths of pain, there is beauty to be found. Families often pass down stories of the Siguapa, each telling reflecting their own experiences and emotions. Parents share her legend with their children, using her tales to teach lessons about caution, respect for nature, and the importance of following one's heart. The Siguapa serves as both a warning and an inspiration, teaching young minds that the world is filled with wonders, but also with risks that must be navigated with care. As the waves crash against the shore, the essence of the Siguapa lingers in the salty air, her spirit woven into the very essence of the island. In quiet moments, when the world is still, you can almost hear her laughter carried on the wind, inviting those who dare to listen. The stories of her seduction and mystery are not just tales of the past, they are living traditions, vibrant and full of life. In the heart of Cuba, the Siguapa remains an enduring figure, a bridge between the past and the present. Her legend is a testament to the enduring power of folklore, a reminder that stories have the ability to transcend time and space. As people continue to share her tales, the Siguapa thrives, breathing life into the dreams and desires of those who long for something more than the ordinary. As night falls and the stars twinkle above, the legend of the Siguapa lives on. She embodies the beauty of the unknown, the thrill of adventure, and the bittersweet nature of love. Those who hear her song are reminded that life is a journey filled with twists and turns, and that sometimes, the most enchanting paths lead to the most unexpected destinations. In her presence, we find both magic and caution, seduction and strength, forever entwined in the vast, mysterious sea. On the shores of Cuba, where the ocean meets the land, whispers of a monstrous sea creature echo through the salty air. Locals speak of El Monstruo de la Bahia, a beast that lurks beneath the shimmering surface, watching and waiting. This legend is more than just a tale, it is a reflection of the fears and wonders that arise from the deep waters. As children gather around fires, their wide eyes filled with anticipation, they listen to stories that blend fear with fascination, reminding them that the sea is both beautiful and treacherous. El Monstruo de la Bahia is said to take many forms, from a gigantic serpent with scales glistening like diamonds to a massive, shadowy figure that rises from the depths. Some describe it as having eyes that glow like lanterns, illuminating the dark waters as it prowls beneath the surface. Others say it resembles a giant fish, its size unmatched by any creature known to mankind. Each description stirs the imagination, fueling tales of bravery and terror, of fishermen who have seen it breach the water and heard its haunting cries echoing through the night. Historical sightings of this creature add to the weight of its legend. Fishermen tell stories of encounters that leave them shaken, recounting how their boats were rocked by unseen forces. They speak of nights when the water grew eerily calm, only to erupt in chaos as the monster emerged. One fisherman recalls a summer night when he and his crew were out in the bay, preparing to return home. The moon hung low, casting silver beams on the water, and everything felt peaceful until they heard a deep rumbling sound. Suddenly, the water exploded, and a massive creature broke the surface, thrashing about before vanishing into the depths. Fear clutched at their hearts, and they fled back to shore, never to return to those waters at night again. The stories of El Monstruo de la Bahia serve as a reminder of the unknown lurking just beneath the surface. For centuries, the sea has been a source of sustenance and livelihood, yet it holds mysteries that can terrify even the most seasoned sailors. The fear of the monster reflects a broader understanding of nature, a powerful force that can give and take away. When fishermen cast their nets into the waters, they do so with a mix of hope and dread, knowing that what they seek may be close to the very creature that haunts their dreams. Parents pass down the legend of El Monstruo to their children, using it as both a warning and a lesson. They caution against venturing too far into the bay, reminding the young ones of the tales of those who were lost to the depths, lured by the promises of the sea. The stories foster respect for nature, teaching the importance of caution and humility. Yet, amidst the fear, there is an undeniable thrill that comes with the idea of encountering such a majestic beast. It ignites curiosity, urging the brave-hearted to seek the unknown. The significance of El Monstruo de la Bahia goes beyond mere terror. It symbolizes the eternal relationship between humans and the sea. The ocean is a source of life, providing food and livelihood, but it is also a realm of mystery that demands respect. In this duality lies the essence of the creature, both a protector and a predator. As people navigate their lives along the coast, they carry the stories of the monster within them, a constant reminder of the power of the natural world. In modern times, El Monstruo has also become a source of pride for local communities. Festivals are held in honor of the creature, where stories are shared and traditions are celebrated. Artists create sculptures and murals depicting the monster, transforming fear into beauty. The legend has woven itself into the cultural fabric of the area, connecting generations through shared stories and experiences. The monster, once a symbol of dread, has become a guardian of their heritage. As night falls and the stars twinkle above the bay, the legend of El Monstruo lingers in the air. The gentle lap of the waves against the shore carries with it the echoes of ancient stories. The thrill of adventure beckons those who gaze out into the dark waters, tempting them to seek their own encounters with the beast. Whether real or imagined, the creature remains a powerful force, an embodiment of humanity's relationship with the sea, a reminder that even in the darkest depths, there exists the possibility of wonder and connection. In this land where the sea meets the sky, the stories of El Monstruo de la Bahia serve as a bridge between the past and the present. The fear, the fascination, and the respect for the ocean come together in this legendary figure, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who live by its shores. And so, the monster watches over the bay, a silent guardian of the secrets hidden within the waves, ensuring that the stories never fade away. In the heart of Cuba, where rivers twist like ribbons through lush landscapes and the sea stretches to the horizon, whispers of La Madre de Agua fill the air. She is the mother of waters, a powerful spirit who commands the rivers and seas, shaping the very nature of the land. Her presence is felt in the gentle flow of water and the crashing of waves, a reminder of both life and destruction. La Madre del Agua is often depicted as a beautiful woman, draped in flowing blue and green garments that shimmer like the water she governs. Her hair, long and dark, resembles the river's depths, and her eyes hold the wisdom of the ages. Fishermen speak of her with reverence, telling tales of her kindness and her fury. When she smiles, the waters are calm, fish swim freely, and life flourishes. But when angered, she can unleash storms, floods, and chaos, reminding all who dwell near her that nature is not to be taken lightly. In every community near the water, there are stories of encounters with La Madre de Agua. A fisherman once recounted a day when the sea was particularly restless. He had cast his net, hopeful for a good catch, but the waves crashed violently against his boat. Just as despair began to set in, he spotted a figure beneath the surface. It was La Madre de Agua. With a swift wave of her hand, she calmed the waters, allowing him to return home safely. This tale is just one of many that celebrate her protective nature, portraying her as a nurturing force that provides for those who respect her. The legend of La Madre de Agua also speaks to the challenges faced by those who rely on the rivers and seas for their livelihoods. There are stories of people who have disregarded her power, only to face dire consequences. A young man once boasted that he could fish anywhere he pleased, without paying respect to the spirit of the waters. One fateful night, he ventured too far into the depths, and the waves turned against him. When he returned, he was a changed man. He spoke of shadows beneath the surface and eyes that watched him, filled with both anger and sorrow. From that day forward, he became a devoted follower of La Madre de Agua, offering thanks for the fish he caught and asking for her forgiveness. These tales reflect a deep understanding of nature's power. La Madre de Agua embodies the duality of water. It can nurture and sustain life, but it can also destroy everything in its path. Communities have learned to live in harmony with her, understanding that respect for nature is essential for survival. The rivers and seas are not just resources, they are sacred places where the spirit resides. Rituals are held in her honor, where offerings of flowers, fruit, and small tokens are cast into the water, symbolizing gratitude and connection. It is a way to acknowledge that the waters are alive, filled with spirits that guide and protect. La Madre de Agua also serves as a metaphor for the cyclical nature of life. Just as rivers ebb and flow, bringing nourishment and then receding, her spirit reminds everyone that life is full of changes. In moments of sorrow or hardship, people find comfort in her stories. They believe that, like the waters, they too will find their way through challenges, emerging stronger and more resilient. The spirit's influence extends beyond the waters, shaping the culture and beliefs of those who live in her embrace. Throughout history, La Madre de Agua has inspired countless artists, writers, and musicians. Her image graces murals, reflecting the beauty of the land and its connection to the sea. Songs filled with longing and gratitude are sung in her name, capturing the essence of a culture that reveres nature. Children learn her stories in school, ensuring that her legacy is passed down through generations. Each retelling breathes new life into her character, keeping her spirit alive in the hearts of the people. As the sun sets over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the waters, the spirit of La Madre de Agua becomes even more tangible. Fishermen return to shore, their boats heavy with the day's catch, and they pause for a moment of silence to honor her. Families gather on the beach, sharing stories of the sea and its wonders, feeling a deep connection to the waters that have shaped their lives. They know that La Madre de Agua watches over them, guiding their journeys and keeping them safe. In the quiet moments, when the world slows down and the stars twinkle above, one can almost hear her voice in the rustling of the leaves and the gentle lapping of the waves. La Madre de Agua is more than just a spirit. She is a reminder of the beauty and power of nature, a reflection of the human experience, and a guiding force for all who seek her wisdom. In the shadows of the Cuban countryside, tales of the chupacabra send chills down the spine of even the bravest souls. This creature, with its sinister reputation, has woven itself into the fabric of Cuban folklore, becoming a modern legend that echoes the fears of rural communities. The chupacabra, often described as a blood-sucking monster with piercing eyes and sharp fangs, represents more than just a myth. It symbolizes the deep-rooted anxieties of farmers, ranchers, and villagers who find their livelihoods threatened by unseen forces. Cuban sightings of the chupacabra began to emerge in the 1990s, igniting panic and fascination across the island. Farmers would wake to find their goats, chickens, and other livestock drained of blood, their bodies left lifeless and cold. The gruesome sight sent shockwaves through communities, leaving people to wonder what could be lurking in the night. As stories spread, so did the descriptions of the creature. Some claimed it had spines running down its back, while others insisted it looked more like a dog, hairless and gaunt. The details varied, but one thing remained constant: the fear it instilled. In the small rural towns, conversations shifted from daily life to discussions of the chupacabra. Neighbors gathered in the evenings, sharing their own chilling encounters or recounting the experiences of others. Whispers filled the air, painting vivid pictures of the creature prowling through the moonlit fields, eyes glowing like embers in the dark. As tales grew, so did the legends, intertwining the chupacabra with Cuba's history, culture, and local fears. The chupacabra legend resonated particularly deeply in a country where agriculture plays a vital role in the economy. Farmers worked tirelessly, investing their time and resources to cultivate crops and care for animals. Yet, with each new report of livestock disappearing or turning up drained, anxiety took root. Many believed that the chupacabra was a manifestation of their fears: fear of economic hardship, fear of the unknown, and fear of losing what they cherished most. The legend became a way to express those fears, giving them a name and a shape. In the midst of this fear, the chupacabra also became a subject of intrigue and fascination. Children gathered around fires, eyes wide with excitement, as elders recounted the creature's exploits. They learned to respect the night and listen to the sounds of the jungle, aware that something might be watching from the darkness. The story morphed into a rite of passage, where children confronted their fears, hoping to one day become brave enough to stand against the legendary beast. As the years went by, sightings of the chupacabra became more than just reports of livestock attacks. The creature took on various forms in the minds of the people, adapting to fit their experiences and surroundings. Some claimed to have seen it stalking through the tall grass, while others spoke of it lurking near rivers and swamps. The chupacabra became a symbol of rural life, embodying the struggles and challenges faced by those who toiled under the sun. In urban areas, the chupacabra morphed into something different. The legend traveled beyond the fields and into the hearts of city dwellers. It became a subject of gossip and speculation, spawning countless theories about its origins. Some believed it was a creature from the depths of the forest, while others argued it was a scientific experiment gone wrong. The chupacabra became a metaphor for the unpredictability of life, reminding people that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. Despite its terrifying reputation, the chupacabra also brought communities together. Neighbors who may have barely spoken before found common ground in their shared fears. Meetings were held to discuss safety measures, and groups formed to protect livestock. In the face of a common enemy, barriers fell away, and friendships blossomed. The chupacabra served as a reminder that even in fear, there is strength in unity. In the quiet moments of reflection, the chupacabra legend took on an even deeper meaning. Many began to view the creature as a warning, a call to pay attention to the world around them. Farmers understood that they had to adapt and protect their livelihoods. The stories of the chupacabra were not just about fear, they were about resilience and the need to respect the delicate balance of nature. With each retelling, the legend evolved, weaving in elements of hope, courage, and community spirit. The chupacabra became a part of the cultural landscape, a modern myth that blended seamlessly with Cuba's rich tapestry of folklore. In every story, there was an opportunity to confront fears, embrace challenges, and emerge stronger. It is a legend that continues to thrive, reminding people of the power of belief and the strength of unity in the face of adversity. As night falls in the Cuban countryside, the tales of the chupacabra linger in the air, a haunting reminder of both fear and hope. Farmers still glance cautiously into the darkness, listening for the sounds that might signal danger. Children may still shiver at the thought of the creature lurking in the shadows, but they also laugh and play, knowing that together, they can face whatever comes their way. The chupacabra, with all its horror and intrigue, is more than just a monster. It is a reflection of the human spirit, a symbol of resilience, and a reminder that even in the face of fear, community and courage can light the way. In the shadows of the moonlit Cuban nights, a chilling legend creeps through the streets and fields, sending shivers down the spine of those who hear it. The story of the Cuban werewolf, known as the Lobo, haunts the minds of many. From the bustling cities to the quiet countryside, this creature embodies transformation and danger, wrapping itself around the fears and mysteries of the night. In every village and town, whispers of the Lobo circulate among friends and families. On a calm night, as the sun sets and the sky darkens, tales begin to surface about men who morph into fearsome wolves under the light of the full moon. Those who have encountered the Lobo speak of its glowing eyes piercing through the darkness, a primal howl that echoes through the valleys, leaving a mark of dread. For many, the Lobo is not just a figment of imagination but a living nightmare that stalks the corners of their minds. The origins of this legend stretch back through generations. The Lobo is said to be a cursed soul, a man who has traded his humanity for dark power. In moments of desperation, he succumbed to a darker path, resulting in a transformation that turned him into a beast of the night. It's a story that intertwines fear with a warning that the choices one makes can lead to unimaginable consequences. This transformation symbolizes the struggle between good and evil within us all. It reflects a very human experience, the capacity for change, both for the better and the worse. In the cities, the Lobo often appears in urban legends passed down through the years. Street corners are filled with stories of men who vanish at night, only to return with blood on their hands and haunted expressions. Neighbors share cautious glances, remembering tales of friends who were not seen again after dark. Each new report feeds the fire of fear, creating an atmosphere where shadows seem to carry weight and every rustle in the night becomes a potential sign of danger. The urban Lobo represents not just a physical threat, but also the transformation of ordinary lives into something unrecognizable, reflecting the darker sides of city life. In the countryside, the legend takes on a more primal form. Here, the Lobo is often associated with nature itself, embodying the wildness that resides just beneath the surface. Farmers tell of hearing the chilling howls of the beast in the distance, a reminder of the untamed wilderness that surrounds them. Livestock goes missing, and whispers of the Lobo circulate, warning of the danger that lurks in the fields and forests. In these tales, the Lobo becomes a symbol of nature's unpredictable power, representing the fears of losing control in an ever-changing world. Children, too, hear the stories of the Lobo. On stormy nights, when the wind howls through the trees, they snuggle close to their parents, listening with wide eyes as the legends unfold. The tales of the werewolf become more than mere stories, they teach valuable lessons about courage and caution. They remind children to respect the darkness, to understand that danger can lurk behind friendly faces and familiar places. Yet, in the face of these fears, children also learn about bravery and the power of community. They gather in groups, finding strength in numbers, ready to confront whatever fears the night may bring. As the legend of the Lobo continues to grow, it has adapted to the changing times, blending with contemporary fears and concerns. In a world where danger often feels palpable, the werewolf serves as a reminder of the potential for transformation. Each story brings a new layer to the legend, weaving together threads of human experience, emotion, and the struggle against our darker impulses. The Lobo represents a fight against the chaos that life can bring, an emblem of the constant battle between light and dark that exists in every heart. In the quiet moments, when the moon hangs high in the sky, the Lobo becomes a metaphor for inner turmoil. It serves as a reminder that everyone has the potential for change, whether for good or for ill. The fear it inspires is not just about the creature itself, but about what it means to confront our own fears and demons. The stories encourage reflection on choices made and paths taken, urging individuals to remain vigilant in the face of temptation. The Lobo legend brings communities together in shared fear and camaraderie. Neighbors look out for one another, creating bonds through shared experiences and warnings of what to avoid after dark. Families pass down stories, ensuring that the legend of the werewolf continues to echo through the generations. The tale evolves but remains rooted in its core message, that transformation is possible, but it comes with both beauty and danger. In the end, the Cuban werewolf stands as a testament to the human experience. It is a creature of the night, a harbinger of fear and a reflection of the choices that shape our lives. The Lobo lives in the hearts and minds of those who dare to share its story, forever a part of Cuba's rich tapestry of folklore. As long as there are moonlit nights and whispering winds, the legend of the Lobo will persist, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within and the power of transformation that lies in us all. In the heart of Regla, a small town near Havana, whispers fill the air as shadows stretch across the cobblestone streets. This is a place steeped in history, where the past intertwines with the present, and legends linger like the scent of the sea. Among these tales is one that sends chills down the spine, the legend of the vampires of Regla. It's a story that reflects the deep fears and rich traditions of the community, blending the supernatural with the essence of Afro-Cuban spirituality. The legends begin with the mysterious figures said to wander the streets at night, lurking in the corners of dimly lit alleys. Locals speak in hushed tones about the vampire-like creatures who arise after sunset, feeding on the life force of the living. With their pale skin and haunting eyes, these beings are said to possess an otherworldly charm, drawing people in before revealing their true, sinister nature. The fear of these vampires runs deep, creating a palpable tension in the night air, as families lock their doors and whisper warnings to their children. Stories of the Regla vampires have transformed over generations, passed down from one person to another, growing with each telling. Elders often recount how these creatures are believed to be the restless spirits of those wronged in life, searching for revenge or redemption. The tales vary. Some say they were once powerful figures in society who misused their power, while others believe they are the victims of tragic circumstances, condemned to roam the earth in search of solace. This duality of victim and villain adds complexity to the vampire lore, making it more than just a tale of horror. In the vibrant culture of Regla, these stories have a strong connection to Afro-Cuban religions, particularly Santeria. Here, the spirits of the ancestors hold great significance, and it is said that some of these vampire-like beings are manifestations of those who were deeply tied to the land and the people. In a community that has faced oppression and struggle, these legends serve as a reminder of the ties that bind them to their past. They embody the fears of loss and the hope for redemption, intertwining the supernatural with the spiritual. As night falls over Regla, the legends come alive. Streets that once buzzed with laughter and chatter fall silent, replaced by the soft whispers of the wind and the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. Locals recount their own experiences, tales of encounters that make the hair on the back of one's neck stand on end. Some speak of feeling an inexplicable chill when passing certain corners, as if unseen eyes were watching, ready to strike. Others tell of dreams filled with dark figures, their cries echoing in the silence of the night. For many, the legends serve as a cautionary tale, warning against straying too far from the safety of home. Parents tell their children to return before dark, reminding them of the danger that lurks outside. The vampires of Regla symbolize more than just a fear of the unknown. They represent the struggles of a community grappling with its history and identity. The tales remind them of the sacrifices made by their ancestors and the importance of staying connected to their roots. The vampires are often depicted as alluring figures, evoking a sense of fascination along with fear. This duality captivates the imagination, allowing for stories that entice even as they terrify. In Regla, the line between the living and the supernatural is blurred, creating a world where vampires may be seen as both a threat and a part of the community's cultural fabric. Local artists, writers, and musicians have drawn inspiration from these legends, infusing their work with themes of love, loss, and the search for identity. As the legend spreads beyond Regla, it takes on new forms in the hands of those who tell it. Urban legends morph and adapt, absorbing elements of other cultures and beliefs. The vampires of Regla become a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, hope can still shine through. Through the stories, a connection is forged between generations, creating a shared understanding of the trials faced by their ancestors. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, these legends provide a sense of comfort and continuity. They remind the people of Regla that they are part of something larger, tied to their past by the stories they tell. The vampires of Regla become more than just creatures of the night. They embody the strength and spirit of a community that refuses to be forgotten. As the sun rises over Regla, the shadows of the night fade, but the stories remain. The vampires may retreat until the next full moon, but the impact of their legends lingers in the hearts and minds of the people. These tales serve as a testament to the power of folklore and the human experience, reminding everyone that even in fear, there is beauty, connection, and a shared heritage that binds them all together. The vampires of Regla are more than just figures of horror. They represent the struggles, fears, and hopes of a community rich in history and culture. As the legend continues to evolve, it becomes a living part of Regla, forever woven into the fabric of its identity. As dusk settles over Old Havana, the cobblestone streets seem to come alive with whispers of the past. The air carries a mix of nostalgia and mystery, wrapping around visitors like a warm embrace. Among the colorful buildings and vibrant life lies a world where the living and the dead brush against each other, creating stories that send chills down the spine. Ghost stories of Old Havana are not mere tales, they are echoes of a rich history filled with love, loss, and lingering spirits that refuse to fade away. One of the most famous ghost stories comes from the Grand Hotel Nacional, a majestic building overlooking the sea. This hotel has seen countless visitors, but some of its guests never truly checked out. Tales of a lady in white who roams the halls are well known. She is said to be the spirit of a beautiful woman who once graced the hotel with her presence. Many believe she was a performer who tragically lost her life during a performance. Guests have reported feeling a soft caress on their cheeks or a sudden chill in the air as they walk past her favorite room. Some claim to have seen her figure glide gracefully through the lobby, her flowing gown shimmering like moonlight. Those who have encountered her often speak of an inexplicable sense of peace that envelopes them, as if she is guarding the hotel and watching over its guests. Wandering further into the heart of Old Havana, the Palacio de los Capitanes Generales stands as a witness to centuries of history. This former government palace is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young woman named La Llorona. Legend has it that she was the daughter of a Spanish captain, betrothed to a man she did not love. Heartbroken and desperate, she threw herself from the balcony, hoping to find freedom in death. Today, her mournful cries can be heard echoing through the halls, especially on moonlit nights. Visitors often describe feeling a deep sadness wash over them as they walk through the palace, as if they can hear her whispers of sorrow. Many claim to have seen a fleeting figure on the balcony, a silhouette gazing longingly at the stars, reminding them of dreams unfulfilled. Moving through the bustling streets, the Cathedral of Havana stands tall, its stone facade telling tales of time gone by. Within its walls, spirits of the past linger, particularly that of Fray Bartolomé de las Casas, a Dominican friar who devoted his life to advocating for the rights of the indigenous people. His spirit is said to wander the cathedral, seeking solace in the prayers of the faithful. Those who visit often report feeling a gentle warmth envelop them as they kneel in prayer, as if Fray Bartolomé himself is offering his blessings. Some have even claimed to see a flicker of light near the altar, illuminating his presence. The cathedral becomes a sanctuary, where the living can connect with the noble spirit who fought for justice and compassion. But it's not just the grand buildings that hold spirits, the narrow alleys and colorful houses also have their tales. In one particularly charming street, a dilapidated house hides a tragic story. Locals speak of a young artist who poured his heart into his paintings, only to be betrayed by the love of his life. Heartbroken, he took his own life in the very room where he created his masterpieces. Today, his spirit is said to linger, seeking to finish the works he never had the chance to complete. Those who pass by often hear the sound of paintbrushes moving and soft sighs that echo through the cracked walls. Many artists claim to feel his presence, as if he guides their hands, filling their canvases with passion and emotion. In a bustling cafe, laughter fills the air, but the owner knows of a ghost that sometimes joins them. He tells of a mischievous spirit who plays pranks on unsuspecting patrons, moving chairs and making the lights flicker. Locals affectionately call him El Guapo, the handsome one, and though he is known for his tricks, he brings warmth and laughter to the cafe. Visitors often find themselves chuckling at the stories of El Guapo, who seems to thrive on the joy of the living. His antics remind everyone that even in the presence of spirits, life can still be filled with light and laughter. The streets of Old Havana are alive with echoes of the past, where every corner holds a story waiting to be told. Ghost stories are woven into the very fabric of the city, connecting the living with those who once walked these same streets. Each legend adds depth to the rich history, reminding everyone that love and loss are universal experiences that transcend time. As night falls and the stars twinkle overhead, the spirits of Old Havana continue their dance among the living, intertwining their stories with those who come to visit. Ghosts roam the streets, their presence felt in the air, reminding everyone that even in death, there is a heartbeat of history that pulses through this vibrant city. The stories told by locals weave the tapestry of life and afterlife, connecting generations through shared experiences. Walking through Old Havana, one cannot help but feel the weight of history, both beautiful and haunting. The ghosts of the past linger like shadows, watching over the living as they navigate the streets filled with laughter, love, and memories. The legends breathe life into the old buildings, allowing visitors to glimpse the heart of a city that refuses to be forgotten. Whether it's the mournful cries of La Llorona or the playful antics of El Guapo, the spirits of Old Havana remind everyone that love and longing never truly disappear, they simply take on new forms, forever entwined with the vibrant soul of this remarkable city. Under the velvety expanse of a starry sky, Cuba holds stories that extend far beyond its lush landscapes and vibrant culture. Among the tales that flutter through the air, there are whispers of encounters that leave a chill in the spine and ignite the imagination. These are not the tales of ghosts or spirits of the past, instead, they speak of beings from beyond the stars. The myths surrounding UFO sightings and alien encounters weave into the fabric of Cuban folklore, creating a rich tapestry where the modern intersects with the mystical. In 1975, the quiet town of Cienfuegos became the setting for an event that would echo through the years. On a warm evening, witnesses claimed to see strange lights hovering above the sugarcane fields, dancing in the night like fireflies, but far brighter and more vibrant. The lights twisted and turned, illuminating the darkened landscape with a glow that felt otherworldly. People stood outside their homes, mouths agape, as they pointed at the sky, whispering in awe and fear. They wondered if they were alone in the universe, if these lights heralded a visit from beings who might have traveled across galaxies. As the reports of sightings spread, they drew the attention of both locals and skeptics alike. Some dismissed the phenomenon as mere reflections or military flares, but others felt a stirring in their souls, a connection to something beyond human understanding. These encounters were not just stories, they tapped into deep-seated beliefs about the cosmos and our place within it. For many, the idea of extraterrestrial life was not just a possibility, it became intertwined with their spiritual beliefs. In Cuban culture, spirituality has always played a significant role, especially through the rich traditions of Santeria and Abaqua. Many practitioners believe in a universe filled with energies and spirits that influence their lives. This belief in unseen forces created a fertile ground for the acceptance of alien encounters. Some began to interpret the sightings as messages from the cosmos, perhaps even a sign that their ancestors were watching over them, communicating through the veil of the universe. In rural areas, stories of encounters grew into something more profound, blending with existing legends. Elders would gather children around fires, recounting tales of los extraterrestres, the extraterrestrials who come to Earth not to invade, but to observe and learn from humanity. They spoke of luminous beings who appeared in dreams, offering wisdom and guidance. These narratives often emphasized harmony with nature, urging respect for the earth and its inhabitants, hinting that these visitors held knowledge about the planet that humans had long forgotten. One particularly poignant story tells of a farmer who worked late into the night, tending to his crops. One evening, he noticed a strange glow in the field and felt an inexplicable pull toward it. As he approached, he saw a figure unlike anything he had ever known, tall, with shimmering skin and eyes that sparkled like the stars. In that moment, he felt a profound sense of peace and understanding, as if all his worries had been lifted. The being communicated with him not through words, but through emotions, filling his heart with love and the importance of preserving the land for future generations. When the farmer awoke the next day, he felt compelled to change his practices, to farm in a way that honored the earth. This encounter transformed not just his life, but the lives of those around him, as he spread the message of respect and care for nature. The narrative of alien encounters has also found a place in the world of art and music. Many Cuban artists began to incorporate themes of the cosmos and extraterrestrial beings into their work, creating pieces that evoke wonder and curiosity. Musicians composed haunting melodies that reflected the mysteries of the universe, urging listeners to look to the stars for guidance and inspiration. The rhythm of these creations echoed the heartbeat of a nation grappling with its identity while reaching for the unknown. Even the infamous Cuban government has been involved in the conversation surrounding UFOs. In the late 1970s, there were official reports of sightings, and the government acknowledged the phenomenon, fueling public interest and belief. The media picked up on these stories, and soon, television programs featured discussions on the existence of extraterrestrial life and its implications for Cuba. Such recognition lent credibility to the beliefs held by many, uniting people through a shared curiosity and wonder about what lay beyond their earthly existence. As the stories continued to circulate, they shaped a modern mythos that transcended fear and skepticism. People began to share their own experiences, recounting nights spent stargazing, hoping for a glimpse of something extraordinary. Those who claimed to have witnessed UFOs spoke not only of fear but of an overwhelming sense of awe. The encounters became symbols of hope and connection, suggesting that humanity was part of a much larger tapestry, a universe teeming with possibilities and life. Cuba's unique history and cultural identity infused these stories with a depth that resonates on many levels. The island, shaped by waves of migration and a rich mix of influences, reflects the complexities of human existence. Just as the ocean flows and changes, so too do the myths evolve, intertwining the past with the present. The idea of alien encounters, once perceived as modern myths, now holds a place of honor among the ancient spirits that have long been revered. In the heart of Cuba, as families gather beneath the stars, the stories continue to be told, blending tradition with innovation. The ancient spirits of the land dance alongside the modern-day tales of extraterrestrials, creating a rich narrative that speaks to the universal human experience of searching for connection, understanding, and a sense of belonging. The UFO sightings may fade into the night, but the feelings they evoke linger, forever entwined with the hopes and dreams of a people looking toward the stars, embracing the possibility that they are not alone in this vast universe. In a world that often rushes past the whispers of history, Cuba stands as a vibrant canvas where ancient myths come alive. The stories of mythical creatures and spirits dance through the streets, echoing in the art, literature, and the very fabric of the culture. These tales are more than mere folklore, they are threads that weave together the identity of the Cuban people, grounding them in their history and connecting them to their ancestors. Every corner of Cuba tells a story. The vibrant murals that adorn the walls of Havana are not just expressions of creativity, they reflect the rich tapestry of myths and legends that have shaped the island. Artists draw inspiration from the ciguapa, a seductive sea spirit, and the El Cadejo, a phantom dog, breathing life into their features. These creatures leap off the canvas, their vibrant colors igniting the imagination and invoking feelings of nostalgia, wonder, and even fear. The creatures remind the people of their roots, of the tales passed down through generations, preserving the essence of their culture. Literature, too, is infused with these mythical elements. Writers embrace the tales of La Llorona and La Sirena, weaving them into narratives that explore love, loss, and the complexities of human experience. Through poetry and prose, the words resonate with emotion, reflecting the struggles and triumphs of the Cuban spirit. In a world of modernity, these stories serve as a bridge, connecting the past to the present. They remind readers that even in the most challenging times, the essence of their culture remains alive, vibrant, and relevant. The enchantment of these myths extends beyond the realms of art and literature. In recent years, tourism has embraced the allure of these legendary tales, attracting visitors eager to experience the magic of Cuban folklore. Tour guides share stories of haunted houses and legendary creatures, guiding tourists through the streets of Havana, where history and myth intertwine. As visitors walk the cobblestone streets, they are drawn into a world where the past and present coalesce, igniting their curiosity and fueling their imagination. Local festivals celebrate these myths, bringing together communities in joyous gatherings. People dress as their favorite mythical characters, parading through the streets, dancing to lively music. The atmosphere is electric, filled with laughter and camaraderie, as the tales of old take center stage. In these moments, the power of storytelling shines brightly, binding generations together in a shared love for their cultural heritage. Efforts to preserve and revive traditional folklore are at the heart of this cultural renaissance. Schools and community organizations have recognized the importance of keeping these stories alive, teaching children about their heritage. Storytelling sessions fill the air with excitement as children listen wide-eyed, captivated by the tales of ancient spirits and creatures. The lessons extend beyond the stories; they instill a sense of pride in their identity and a deep appreciation for their culture. Additionally, artists and writers are collaborating with cultural institutions to create projects that celebrate Cuban folklore. Workshops and events invite the community to participate, allowing them to contribute their stories and interpretations. This revival of traditional folklore is not only about preserving the past, it's about shaping a future where these stories continue to inspire and connect people. Social media has also played a crucial role in this resurgence. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok have allowed young Cubans to share their interpretations of these myths with the world. Artists showcase their work, writers share their poems, and storytellers recount tales, drawing attention to the richness of Cuban culture. The global audience becomes captivated, eager to learn about the traditions that shape this beautiful island. Cuban mythology is a living entity, breathing life into the landscape and enriching the souls of those who call it home. The stories of mythical creatures remind people of the beauty and complexity of their heritage. They reflect their struggles, dreams, and hopes, serving as a reminder of where they come from and where they are headed. In a world that constantly evolves, these tales remain a cornerstone of Cuban identity, fostering a deep connection to the past. Through the arts, literature, tourism, and education, the myths of Cuba continue to thrive. They inspire creativity, fuel passion, and bind communities together in a shared love for their culture. In every brushstroke, every written word, and every story shared, the echoes of the past resonate, nurturing the spirit of Cuba for generations to come. The cultural significance of these mythical creatures extends far beyond their origins. They symbolize the heart and soul of a people who cherish their stories, ensuring they remain alive in the hearts of all who encounter them.